Gabriel, they're lined up.
Frank, you also asked her to give this back to Alex or something to me that you have to go through the question.
Doesn't matter what he said.
Okay, guys, we're going to get started. If you're coming in, you cannot sit in the front row, you can stand in the back, and we'll get started. Hi, welcome to the FPC hearing for the spring 2014 election cycle. My name is Frank Calalori, and I'm the chair of the Nominations and Elections Committee. Over there is Fred Ding, the vice chair for elections for the NEC. I'd also like to introduce our grievance officer, Alec Barnes. He'll be moderating today. Charlie Burke is serving as public advisor, and he's been available to defendants to answer questions and develop the defense. We will be discussing the charges in the order they were submitted. Those who are presenting charges will have 8 minutes to present the charge. Those defending will also be allotted 8 minutes to respond to the charge. Afterwards, the NEC will have 7 minutes to direct questions towards the chair, the vice chair for elections, the grievance officer, the presenter or defender of charges, or any witness presented during the hearing. Then, the general public will have 8 minutes to ask questions. During this time, the NEC may still ask questions, and priority will be given to members of the NEC. An NEC member may make motions outlined in the NEC Rules of Order. If anyone has filed a charge and has failed to present themselves today, the charges will be dropped. Anyone who is charged and who does not appear today will automatically be disqualified. Are there any questions? To that, I'm going to add 2 reminders. First, this is an orderly process governed by rules. Please respect that. If you have not been recognized by the moderator, Alec Barnes, you are not permitted to speak. Do not be disruptive. Second, we are students at a university, and these are your peers. This is not a spectacle for your entertainment. Please treat each other with the respect, civility, and courtesy that you would expect to be treated. With that, we're calling Ernest Owens to present charges pressed against Dave Delaney and Julie Bitar. With that, I'm passing the floor to Ernest.
I have a quick question. There's no way I can access Facebook online?
You can search for another window.
Okay. I need some help here.
You can look to Alec for time.
Okay. Yeah, but can I access Facebook? I don't know how to get online here.
Oh, I'd also like to add that this is being live streamed because it is publicly accessible. So anyone who cannot physically be here today can access it.
Okay. So, where's the PowerPoint show?
The fifth slide?
Huh?
The fifth slide.
Oh, fifth. Okay, thank you. All right, making it really quick. So, hi, my name is Ernest Owens. I'm filing a complaint against Gabe Delaney and Julie Bitar for, I think, violation.
Press F5.
Yes, it's fine. Oh, this?
Can you press F5 to put it in the slide?
Okay. So, okay. So, introduction, I don't need one. The case presented is solely to make sure that the candidates participating in elections do so fairly and just. I would like you all to know that I've been to a hearing like this before my freshman year, so I'm aware of the proceedings, and I would like to believe that such enforcement continues so that practice in the future and present will be fair and just. It's not a personal matter, it's one of principle. So the violation that I am filing against both of the candidates is for rules of monetary campaigning and surrogacy applied to social networks. The other one is the requirement to file spending form with detailed explanation of all costs. Basically, the situation I'm filing against is the fact that there is a Facebook page that they are a part of the admin of with their other surrogates. These Facebook likes that they have on their page are, some of them, many of them are fake. They can be purchased online. How they can be able to access that simply is that means celebrities, entertainers, people across the world buy fake Facebook likes and Twitter followers. This helps them build credibility for their pages and also spark attention to their pages. So for example, when you see a picture get 100 likes, you're more likely to like it because you're following the trend. So if you have a Facebook page that once had 69 likes and then overnight boosts to 570, then most people are going to find it necessary. And it helped them with their campaign. It boosted their campaign. And whether or not they paid for them or not, it was on their admin. So let's take a trip to Facebook. Get here. So on my page, what you can do is you can do people who like team. So this is how I access this. This is public information. So as you can see here on the likes, you have people, some friends, some foes, that liked this information. So as you can see, these are real Facebook followers for the most part in the beginning. The more you scroll down, you begin to realize that this is not the case. So right now, you see mostly people from the University of Pennsylvania liking the page. And this is what most Facebook faces do. They show you the friends that you have in common with the person before you scroll down and realize that this is, it takes a lot of time. And you can't access it normally on Facebook. So if you don't necessarily go on the page, unless you put in the search people that like certain things, and that's how it happens. So as I scroll down here, these are fake Facebook pages you can see here. They're names that no one knows. There's followers. Hardly some of them even have followers. Fake. No one knows who any of these people are. These locations. Lovely Mind. Who is that? Bad SP. Who's this? A dog. You don't know who any of these people. You don't know who any of these people are. And these people are purchased from a company that you can put the information in and get these likes. So when I saw this, I automatically broke the story from Ernest Me Inc. on earnstones.com, and I showcased this the day I saw it. The moment I saw it, I made it public information. So anyone could have easily saw it, and even to be bold enough, I posted on the Facebook page. I said, hey, what's up with this? This looks suspicious. Gabe acknowledged it. He said that he had nothing to do with it. And I said, that's fine if you had nothing to do with it. But as a candidate, someone in your team or someone in your camp has purchased these, and you need to remove the likes, delete the page, or basically, I guess it's going to be in your spending form. It was not listed in the spending form, because I guess no one wants to admit they bought Facebook likes. But he benefited off these extra hundreds of likes to boost the credibility of his page. Him and Julie Batar, because they're both on the ticket, they both put their name to it. So they're responsible for whatever happens to their page. It's a matter not so much of someone doing it, but you're responsible for your surrogates. If someone buys extra posters, you know, Bill Dean got disqualified about 2 years ago because a poster was in the wrong place. He could have easily said, well, I had nothing to do with it. But if a surrogate, you know, at the end of the day, he got disqualified because it was a part of the rules. Because even if a surrogate or someone else did it or took it down, he was still responsible for his posters. So you're still responsible for your campaign material, even if you want to claim that someone else bought the likes, which I don't think no one wants to waste their money on. So that was one of my biggest points. So I basically, okay. So that's the situation evidence. Analysis, you can see here, those likes were not removed. But here's my interesting facts that I thought you should also know. Brian Goldman and Daniel Levison are part of the Penn Political Review. They are both endorsed by Penn. Julie and Gabe was endorsed by Penn Political Review. Brian Goldman and Daniel Levison also were surrogates for Gabe and Julie. The Penn Political Review Facebook page that is also overseen by Brian Goldman and Daniel Levison also contains a great number of fake Facebook likes. So it's a history or a correlation that this is not something unique. And if you don't believe me, we can also go and see those likes as well. Exit this. Again, this is all public knowledge. You can access this yourself. People who like Penn Political Review. And again, as you can see, they're big endorsers of Gabe and Julie Batar. Some of them are also surrogates for their campaign, helping promote them. And as you can see here, they have more likes than Penn Punchball, even though I think the readership is the difference. But, you know, that's my opinion. Over 1,000 something likes, and it starts off with people that you know, students that you also know as well. And as you begin to see, as people go, you start to scroll down, the likes will get fake. They start off with friends, the same process in which Gabe and Julie had on their pages, and you begin to realize that there's a pattern of this. So I keep scrolling. And Facebook likes are easily accessible. If you guys want to buy your own fake likes, you're more than welcome to. I think they're $10 per 100. I don't buy fake likes. You can check everybody. They're all real. And here we go. Who's this? It's Brelin Brillon. Who's these people? Like, I don't know any of these people. 120 followers. Does anyone know these people? Who's this? Darren, I mean, he says he works at Onsite, I don't give a fuck. That's his job. Hey. So these are, again, fake likes in their purchase. And if you don't put them in your spending form, it's a violation. And that's why I'm here today, because at the end of the day, it's not a matter of someone trying to sabotage your campaign, it's a matter of principle. If you bought your likes, put them in a receipt. And if you didn't buy the likes, you're responsible for them. But whoever the admins are and the surrogates, they're also responsible for the page as well. And I think, my conclusion, hey, pay for them. Under the button even gave them a heads up. If you didn't want to believe me, if I wasn't a credible source, other than the button, put the story up the day those likes went up. And there's numerous information that shows that, and this is a violation. Thank you. I think that's all.
David and Julie.
Julie, in the room? Where's Julie?
Yeah.
Where's our presentation?
If you can switch back to the PowerPoint and press Shift F5 or start from current slide.
So I'll start with it. All right, so we have 8 minutes, okay. So there are 3 underlying assumptions, I think, to what Ernest is saying. The first is that we use the service for Facebook likes. The second is that we use the paid service for Facebook likes. And then the third is that there's a clear and inextricable connection to us and to our campaign team. So, first one. No service is needed. Anyone, if this were a hypothetical situation, you could create 500 Facebook profiles only by including a first and last name, an email, and a password, birthday and gender, and you could have each and every one of these people like your page. That's very, very easy to do, so you don't really need an actual service to do this. Again, this is not saying that we actually did this, because we didn't.
Okay.
But again, you don't need the actual service. Second is that we use the paid service. And Julie, maybe you can talk about this a little bit. But if you look at this particular picture here from our actual admin page, and there were only 3 admins, myself, Julie, and Julie's friend, Renata O'Donnell. Maybe you want to read the...
Oh, yeah. So my friend Renata O'Donnell, I added her as administrator on our page because during our Big Little Week, she was really funny and posted funny statuses, so I thought she could do the same thing for us. But she knew what Facebook was, so that kind of hindered her. Anyways, she sent a statement saying that my apologies that I could not attend the trial today to deliver the statement in person. I needed to help conduct interviews for a different organization. In terms of the events in question today, my involvement with Julie and Gabe's Facebook page was very minimal. In the interest of full disclosure, I gave up Facebook for Lent, but figured when Julie asked me to help with her Facebook page that I could just update those statuses and ignore my own page. Ignoring my own notifications proved too difficult, and after updating the page's status only once after watching Julie's debate, I stopped using the page altogether. Aside from that, I once updated my personal Facebook status once, just before the end of the election in an effort to help Julie out. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at Renata O'Donnell, renataod@sas.upenn.edu.
Yeah, and I want to give you guys specific attention to this paid reach part here. We're more than willing to show you the entire rest of the page. We only have 8 minutes, but we have not spent a single dime on getting any particular Facebook likes. These were messages we were given, and if you look at that, it says get free Facebook likes, Twitter, all that stuff. We got 3 different emails, and then we looked up several other websites that do similar things. Like for like, this is 2 minutes of research. Likeforlike.org, likex.com, linkspeedup.com, likesasap.com, all provide free likes if you so wish to use that for your service. Again, not saying we did not, but again, you don't have to pay for this kind of service. So that's another essential assumption. The third thing is that there was a clear connection to us. We were given we're not going to read this, but this was basically a letter given to us by Fred Ding, Vice Chair for Elections, who basically, he wrote and asked us had we had any involvement in this. This was on the 19th of March, roughly 4:51 p.m. We have a timeline here. So we made the Facebook page on the 18th. Our Facebook likes were...
Yeah, so we have our timeline events here. On March 18th, the Facebook page was created. On March 19th at 3 a.m., there were about 200 likes from friends and family. On March 19th at 9:39 a.m., there were about 500 likes. March 19th at 4:51 p.m., NEC inquiry regarding Facebook page campaign. 5:01 p.m., official statement sent to the NEC on behalf of Gabe Delaney and Julie Bitar. 7:48 p.m. on March 28th, charges filed against Gabe Delaney and Julie Bitar by Joshua Chilcote and Ernest Johnson.
We also submitted text messages to the NEC, which they'll use for deliberation, showing that we had no knowledge of this while this was actually happening.
Timestamp messages. You see the order of events.
Yeah.
From before we received any notification from Ernest or Under the Button.
Yeah.
This began at 9:39 a.m. that day.
Yeah. And then our responses to the letter by Fred. That letter by Julie, won't read the whole thing, but it basically says that she had no involvement in it and that she knew no one who was involved in it. Mine also says that our campaign had no knowledge and disavows any attempts to, or with the social network, to tamper with our Facebook page. So we had no knowledge of it when it was happening. And then in terms of why we did not knock down this page, which we thought would be a question that would be raised, for 4 reasons. One, the integrity of the Facebook page to our campaign was critical at that moment. The debates were happening. This was the way we publicized. The second was that there were no barriers to re-entry. If we made up a new Facebook page, there was nothing that could stop another individual from doing this again. And then the third is that the Facebook page likes do not actually equate to votes. Therefore, I don't know why it has the same degree of validity and sort of equation to actual votes or why it actually affects. But as Ernest said, he thinks it could mean more credibility. I don't think that actually means more votes. I don't think people even really pay attention to the likes, but that's my opinion. But and then the last thing, we did not actually pay for the Facebook likes, which I believe we proved. That's the general. Yeah.
Great. We will now move into the second NEC question period. If that time, once that time period elapses, we will move into a time period during which members of the public and the NEC can ask questions. If the NEC runs out of questions before the second period elapses, we can move straight to the other question. Members of the NEC, you can now raise your hand to get on the queue. Alex is taking the queue. And you can address them towards Gabe, Julie, Dennis, myself, Fred.
All right, Carly.
Hi, Ernest. You mentioned that Dan Levinson and Brian Goldberg were on the Penn Political Coalition's Facebook page. Are you able to show any overlapping likes between that page and Julie and Gabe's page?
I didn't really look into that much, but I will say that these things are randomly done. There is an acronym, I guess there's some type of formula that's used for generating them, so they're unique. So a lot of times, these are random, and I think that those likes were purchased for the political page way early in advance than Gabe and Julie. I think the correlation between the relationship between them as surrogates and supporters is interesting and ironic that they both have the same situation going for their Facebook pages versus it's not a case for any other candidates that we've seen thus far. Because I looked at every candidate who had a like page because that helped me decide if I wanted to endorse them or not, and none of them had the same issue. Except there's just an interesting correlation between the surrogates and the candidates both having the same situation. And maybe someone said the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree and passing down ideas. Kevin?
So yeah, my question's for Gabe and Julie. So did the Facebook likes or the spike in likes, did that all occur in one period, and did they occur at any other point through the rest of the week, or was it just a one-time situation?
No, it was actually just one day.
Okay.
Point clarification. If there's a motion I can add to that question to give clarification to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure. When a Facebook page is liked, or people buy likes, they give sporadically. I don't notice in her presentation, she talked about the spike from the morning to the night, but she didn't talk about the continual draw throughout the whole day. But when you buy Facebook like a certain number of them, you can stop the thing. So, for example, maybe because the press got to it, they stopped the number of likes they're receiving because they come in bulks, hundreds of bulks, or tons of bulks. So if you buy something and then you buy, let's say you decide to buy 500, right? You don't get them all at once. You get them periodically so that it can keep adding. So that's, I don't necessarily think it was a one-time ordeal. It was something that happens sporadically throughout that day. Right?
This is for Ernest. Ernest, how do you know that the likes were purchased and they're not just free and they're not just spam? What evidence do you have to prove that they were purchased?
Well, the evidence for me is the idea that the way I look for any items like posters or whatnot is that I had asked the question, were they bought or were they not? I don't think if they were, if there was any admission, no one knows. The fact that I know that they can be bought and the way in which they were proves to me enough that there could be some admittance. Like the fact that no one knows the possibility, but the fact that there's a possibility they could be bought, I felt like was something to bring to the table. And if there's any type of free likes and when you use them, there would be admittance. But who say it was, who say it wasn't, but there's possibility they could be bought.
Pass.
Kate?
So my question's for Julie or MD. You spoke about Renata, who served as a surrogate. To your knowledge, did either of you present to her the FPC, and does she know the knowledge? Does she have a working knowledge of what she was signing on to? And was she aware of the monetary, specifically the rules regarding monetary detainment?
Yeah, the only thing she did was post a status one time on her page saying, check out Julie, or good job, Julie, for your debate. And then it was like at the very end, it was like, for Julie. She didn't do anything other than that.
This is for Gabe and Julie. Can you go back to the page in your slide that showed that your proof that you didn't pay? Like, can you explain exactly what we're looking at?
Yeah, so what you're looking at here is a graphic of our.
On your admin page at the very top, it'll give you this like live stream feed of everything going on your page. And it will tell you everything like that you posted and how many people have seen it and how many people you paid to see it or like that, and then you can boost the post and pay for it with like a promotion. And we didn't do that for anything, and we have all of them screenshotted like the entire way, and there's nothing.
And we were given messages because it's common when you create a Facebook page like this to be asked if there are problems within Facebook to get free Facebook likes, right? I mean, we literally got messages like this. We
Yeah,
didn't
but these are all from people who had liked the page as well. So
Yep.
these messages are from people who had liked the page and put, get free Facebook likes, get more free Facebook likes, get free Facebook likes.
And we know that if you like the page, there is, like programmatically, you can say, if I like this Facebook page, that you can actually program it to actually send a direct message to that particular page's admin, so that you can actually ask for free Facebook likes. And that's how the system works, according to the research I've done.
Additionally, if there was any service that you paid for, we did our research and looked at all the terms of service. In the terms of service, you must have an email confirmation, and it will be on your credit card history.
Yep.
I'm willing to offer any emails or credit card histories that you would like to see.
So am I.
To validate this. Yeah. Additionally, with free Facebook-like domains, we also looked into them. We looked into all these sites, and how it works is you have to make a membership with them, and basically you exchange likes. So if you like someone's page, then you get likes in return. That's how the system works.
Point of clarification for that.
This question needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Tracy?
So this question is also for Gabe and Julie. So in one of the personal statements, it says that you received message, like inbox messages, like describing ways to get more free likes.
Yeah.
Can you like confirm the validity of that statement or like elaborate on it?
Well, those are the messages right here.
These are them right here. Like if you look at your page,
These are the,
it'll say the post, how many people saw the post, how many people you paid to see the post, to promote it, and then your inbox messages on the page. Not
So
to our
those-
personal accounts, but to the page's account.
Those three messages you got are from likes
Yes.
that you got on your page.
Yes.
likes we got on the page, and the people who wanted to offer us more likes, free. But again, we're not saying that we actually did any of
We
this.
didn't.
We didn't.
And your motion?
I move to extend time for the NEC's question period by 5 additional minutes.
How about this table? Oh, one. Is that 5 minutes?
Yes.
Please move.
I have a question for both of you. So you mentioned that you have these sites that you can get free Facebook likes on, but it requires you to get a membership. Is it possible to get Facebook likes in this manner that are entirely cost-free, including the cost of starting a membership, etc.?
Yes.
No, that's what it is. There's no membership fee to get all these.
You literally just put your email in and your name.
And if you look through any of our emails, you can have access to all of it. There's no compromise, there's nothing there.
That was for you too.
Oh, thank you, perfect. Can you go back to that Facebook page, please? Okay, these likes right here, these people, these are fake. This is not real. These are not real accounts. Okay. Can you look them up? I'm willing for you to look them up if you can prove me wrong. These are fake. I'm into that.
You're not discussing.
These are fake. These are fake likes. These are fake followers. And you, in order, the admin, the only way that you can get these memberships is if you put your information and your URL and your password to the account to authorize those likes. You can't get them any kind of way. Why would anyone offer you, and look at how they all work the same. Why would someone offer you fake Facebook likes if they're your follower? That doesn't make any sense. I don't think any Penn student will then message the page. Why would they message the page to offer you fake likes? Who would do this? Who do you know any of these people? They're not real. It's generated because you have to buy a membership. You have to put some type of deductible. Why would you otherwise have a membership if you don't have to pay anything for the likes? That's how it works. I can give you sites that you can put in your information, you pay a monthly fee, you pay whatever you want, and then that's how you generate the likes. There's no other way you can do it. And they continue to send you these as a way of advertisements. The reason why they're not putting your paid reach is because they don't have to be, because the admin doesn't even have to do it. You can give it to your friend. So the reason why they have to pay it is they can give it to a friend of theirs, right? Their password, and the friend can buy them, and it will not come up under their name. Anyone can do it if you give that authorization to them. No one can sabotage the account without having the password or anything else. So unless you're accusing someone of hacking to your account and getting your password, there's no other way they can get the authorization any other way. Those accounts are fake.
Ron?
So, two-part question to Julie and Gabe, just a yes or no answer for the first question, then the second question you can expound upon. Do you agree that the profiles in question are fake profiles of people that you don't know?
There are people we don't know.
Okay. And then my second question is, where do you think they came from?
I don't know.
So, yeah, we don't know where they came from. You don't have to be an admin on the page to like and then to basically just like spam them and actually
You don't
increase.
have to be an
Exactly.
admin to invite people to like your
Yep.
page. You don't have to be an admin to spam someone's page. And you don't have to pay for membership to
You
get
just have to
free
like their
likes.
page.
You don't have to be an admin. You don't have to pay to get free likes. Like there are literally several websites that all you have to do is just like put in your information and then they generate free likes for you. We didn't do this. We don't know who did this, and we sent the text message, timestamp text message confirmation to the NEC for your revision to prove this.
Also,
Wait, additionally, I'd like to add on to this.
Okay.
Additionally, in the under the button post, the post that you sent of the fake people,
I didn't say
two
that
of
post,
them,
by the way.
the screenshot of the fake people,
Okay.
two of them were my biological uncles.
Okay.
My biological uncles.
Yeah.
And you call them
Are these your cousins up here?
No.
Okay.
Okay, my question is for Ernest. First part, yes or no. Are you aware that there is yes or no, is there an ability to get Facebook likes for free?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so this is for Dave and Julie. You mentioned in your statement to the NEC that your campaign does not employ surrogates. So what status would Renata O'Donnell hold for your campaign?
Oh, she was just like brand new, was on her site. I didn't know that's what I didn't think her to do anything.
So follow-up question. Have you read the entire the FPC, specifically the sections relevant to the charges today?
Sure. I've read them, and I was anticipating this. I would say that in that particular sentence, that's not what I meant in terms of surrogates. I honestly thought there was a difference between surrogates and volunteers. I didn't read the FPC prior to this. I only had to because we were charged with like 4 different things. But in general, yeah, Renata would then be a surrogate under that. But again, she had a statement that we read.
Follow-up question for Fred. What did the candidates indicate to you regarding surrogacy?
They wrote to me in writing 2 times that they have no surrogate.
And that's the end of the NEC's questioning period. Now we'll open it up to the public. And Nisha.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a question, but my next question is to Gabe and Julie. So when you guys were speaking about the reasons that you didn't remove Facebook likes when you heard that when you saw that they were, one of the reasons that you said is that you didn't agree with the turnover between Facebook likes and votes. What do you think is the impact of having Facebook likes on your page and on whether or not people will vote for you? Like, why do you want Facebook likes on your Facebook page?
I don't care. If someone likes a Facebook page, it doesn't mean that they're going to vote for me. That's why I didn't do it. That's why I don't care to do it. I don't need people, I don't need random people to like my page. I have friends. I don't think that's a violation.
Also, like Josh Chilton, liked our page. Is he going to vote for us? No. I don't see. There's just no connection between likes and votes. Just.
What was it?
All right. So Ernest, I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you go to almost any of those sites on their page, they'll have a quick frequently answered questions. First of all, it says sign up now for free. Afterwards, we will never ask you for your password or administrative account or any of your social numbers.
Yeah,
Are you aware of this? That they have these free sites where you sign up for free. You do not, according to these websites, supply a username or password. Simply provide a link, apparently, that are then sent to that anyone can provide a link, and that you can buy it for free. Were you not aware of this? And if so, why do you not research
Are you
this
being
before?
charged of
I am.
who invited me to the Facebook page?
I am.
As an admin on the page, or did you just?
I'm not an admin of this thing.
Okay.
I never have been.
Okay, so you're her brother who invited me to the page.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she didn't ask.
Of course.
But my question is, why were you-
I'm not aware of that.
And
I
then,
wasn't aware of that.
and then in your research, then why are you accusing these people of, for sure, paying for these likes?
I mean, because they don't know if they did or did. They don't know what they did. A surrogate could have bought them. It's a possibility. I mean, you don't know if you didn't get the likes. How can you speak if they were bought or not by your surrogates that you didn't have? Now
Did you buy them the likes?
Did I buy the likes? Out of order. I would have never bought the likes. And I did, if I did, it'd be like posters, right? Posters matter, right? Posters don't matter with votes, but at the end of the day, people still have them. Because posters don't change and make people want to buy votes. You still buy posters, right? You still made a Facebook page, right? And at the end of the day, if they didn't matter to your campaign, you wouldn't have made them in the first place. Because they do matter to some degree. And that's why you did it. That's why you created them.
That's why we stated in the first line.
Right, exactly. It was the first time for election. So that's why you need those likes. You don't want to remove them.
My question is for Julie and Eve. Would you say that the entire point of the people who message you, that they are fake accounts, and that they did recommend the free service that they came from, shows the correlation between your fake likes and the free service? Would you say that Ernest's point is completely irrelevant because, of course, they're the fake sites, and that just links it to a free service?
Yes.
But you don't know anything about fake likes.
Oh, I'm sorry. So may I direct questions to the NEC regarding NEC policy? Okay, so so Fred and Frank both, I trust you guys to possibly judge us a little bit. A lot of this has been on the validity of the accounts. I think that on both sides of the aisle, it is ascertained to be fake. My question is, since fake accounts are known to have a market exchange rate based on what goes on, whether through a server or not, has this ever fallen in the NEC's precedent or power to determine that it indeed is assigned a market rate? My theory is that, for example, if a free service hypothetically provided me with a piece of chalk for free, we would still have to mark that down on a market rate for the campaign. So here at this point, something along those lines, is there a precedent for something that's a little softer, like an online component?
So we have never applied this specifically to Facebook, but there is a provision in the FPC in which it says that cost is determined by the fair market value of the goods. So it does not matter whether you have a sale that's free to you or if there's something that is charged $100 to someone else. It's what goes for default market rate.
So I would add though, if the sale is universally applicable to everybody else, and everybody else could get that product at that same price, then that price could be recorded.
But overall, it would be a monetary price point that would have to be recorded in any campaign.
So it depends on the product.
So, housing. Let's do that too.
Just kidding.
Yeah,
I guess for Ernest, how are you certain that somebody working against Gabe or his campaign didn't get the free like service or a purchase like service in order to then file a charge against him?
Let me clarify this for I think the third or fourth time. The only way that someone could be able, well, there's two different spirits here. They're arguing that they think that somehow some fake likes randomly spam their page. That's not happening. The only way that someone can buy those likes is if they have the password, because they have to create a membership. They have to have the password of that account. They also have the URL link. I don't have any of those things. I don't think no one else does except for their surrogates or whoever they gave the information to. So at the end of the day, the burden and the responsibility falls on the surrogates or the candidates, whoever did it. It's like posters. Someone can buy 20,000 posters and put on your thing. If you didn't pay for them, it's your responsibility to take them down because then you're going to be held accountable for them.
Here's a motion.
May I have a brief follow-up?
Motion to extend time by 5 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Extended by 5 minutes.
All right, Harlan, you're good.
Yeah, I'm just still, this is a question directed to Julie and Gabe. I'm still a little bit confused about surrogacy. So can you just clear up for us, by the time of the end of your campaign, did you have any surrogates, and if so, who were?
Sure. All right, so Renata was a surrogate at one point. I mean, you should have asked me this before. It's like a long list of people who like friends who said, "Oh, can I give you an hour? Can I give you 2 hours of time?" I mean, I don't know. Do I have to drop names here? Or?
No, that's.
But there were surrogates, people who helped me like walk around, talk to people. Chalk, certainly chalk. I mean, I don't have any artistic skills, so yeah. Poster, that stuff.
Can the purple shoes?
Is this good time?
Okay, so moving from Aiden's question about the monetary value of Facebook pages, I'm really curious as to where the NEC draws their line on what does and does not have monetary value. Because in the same way that someone might pay for chalk or give chalk freely, someone might also pay for volunteering time to hand out flyers, so the NEC allots that. So I'm curious if this pay for chalk versus free chalk argument holds for something like making a Facebook page, and if that would mean that volunteering all now has monetary value and should be claimed, and free hugs should be claimed as monetary value, and everything else should have monetary value.
Those are all things that will end up with
Yes, me? No.
Ernest, did you say that you actually need a password to the admin to have people like your page? Like, are you aware that anyone could create fake profiles and like the page, or anyone could?
That's the argument I'm making. I'm saying that there's two different ways you can go about it. Either 500 people created fake pages that you're not aware of, to like your page specifically in political review. Is that the logic you're following? You think 500 people create 500 fake accounts?
But you're aware
like
that they don't have to be connected.
Yeah, there's a possibility that 500 fake people create 500 pages just to like theirs at the same time. The perfect storm. Oh wow, yes, that's a possibility, but I doubt it. I doubt
But
it.
the services don't even have to be there, you're aware, right?
No, because they don't, because 500 people create fake 500 accounts to like the
So
page.
the free services don't need
You
services.
do not need the services, honey.
So I just want to ask a point of clarification on the slide where you're talking about why you didn't choose to then remove the likes, because, so I understand you're saying that you don't know where they came from, they showed up that one morning.
Sure.
But so after Fred sent you the email, the other the button post went out, Ernest posted on the page, and multiple people, I guess, made you aware of the concerns, I guess, about where they came from. I guess I'm just wondering what, especially because I think Fred specifically said, he said, I'm not writing this letter to charge you with an FPC violation. Nevertheless, it's an important factual inquiry that may protect you from other candidates that have filed the charge.
Right.
So he was, I guess, already kind of saying that, this may, I guess, in a sense, happen. I guess I'm generally asking why, when you, in one of the other answers you said, likes don't equal votes, and it doesn't matter to me, why not just remove the, I guess, accounts that you didn't?
Because admins can remove those likes, but not to you.
Sure. I mean, we didn't, well, to be honest, we didn't remove the likes because we didn't really know, you couldn't really discriminate who was real and who was fake. Like, there were, Ernest believes so, but honestly, there were some people who you thought, like, all right, this person, or we may not, I didn't know a lot of the people who liked anyways. Like, Veronica. Like, I don't know who they are. I don't know who her family is. Her family liked the page. People with different, I have no clue.
That's not even it. Also, there's no barriers to re-entry.
Right.
What if we remake a page? Now we're back at square one, 0, and who's to say that someone isn't going to spam this page again and make it all these likes again, and then have to go to the whole hassle again?
Yep.
And who's to say that there's any validity to any of the likes ever? Like,
But theoretically, had you, I guess, made the effort to go about, I guess, taking down the likes?
I deleted like 50 likes that were without like Facebook profiles because I was like, all right, these people are probably fake. But
I personally went in and pressed block for some people.
yeah, but I didn't know every single person who was fake on the page.
Spencer?
It's Ernest. You stated that it's relevant, they don't know who the people who like the page are. Can you explain how that is explicitly connected to a monetary value being attached to those likes?
Well, it's just like posters. Someone can say they got free printing at, Maku, and got posters and made extra posters and put them up. There's opportunities to get free things, but we have a monetary value. We can say they're irrelevant, but at the end of the day, they help a campaign. It's the same thing. There's a monetary service. There are services out there that people can buy to create this. It's a business. Just like printing is a business, and just because you don't know, there's a monetary service. And so my argument is more so on the relevancy, is that they benefited off of some possibility of monetary campaigning from surrogates that they can't even keep track of to help their campaign, where other people have to do, all candidates have to go through the effort and the hassle of making sure they put all this in their financing sheets, any type of surrogate, and I just feel like they have a lot of loose cannons helping them with their campaign, and they don't have any tracking on it. And to answer the part about the determining the fake pages, is that it's very simple. They don't have, if they're not they're mutual friends, if they don't have anything with the connection to you as a mutual friend, some of those profiles, many of those profiles have no correlation with the University of Pennsylvania, have no mutual friends, they don't even hardly have less than 10 followers. Their profile pictures, like you saw, were dogs. Some people were from random schools that, like, IDon'tGiveAfuck.com. They have all these weird occupations, and the fact that they didn't go through the process of filtering that shows that they benefited off of that, because as he said earlier in his claim, that they were in the height of their campaign. So he capitalized off of some random 500 likes to help him with this campaign. And if it didn't mean anything, just like a poster doesn't mean anything to a vote, you can easily remove them and keep it going. But there was negligence, and that's why I'm here.
So that's the end of the open Q&A period.
Motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
Second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion does not pass. So that brings us to the end of this first charge. We will now ask Josh Choco to present his charge against Gabriel and Julie. All right, Josh, whenever you're ready, you'll have 8 minutes.
Hi, so I'm presenting first on the idea of my charges against both Gabe and Julie, relating specifically to the monetary campaigning period. So according to the FPC, the monetary campaign period, as you know, commences at 7 a.m. on a designated day after the candidates meeting. That was designated in the candidates meeting as March the 18th at 7 a.m. This includes but is not limited to registering domain names. Why this is important is because between the two campaigns, we both use Squarespace, which is a really interesting site that you can use to create the layout of your page and really do things with your page. But using your domain name and having that publicly accessible is different than having a free trial for Squarespace, and here's why. So first off, if you actually go, you can just simply search who owns domain names. So whois.com is a search that has been around since the 90s that allows you to do that. And you can check up, and you can see here, it's registered at Public Domain Registry by Gabe, using his quant address in the whole show. And if you actually go there, you can also see that it is, again, hosted by Gabe. Again, here in the quad, here's SAS, you can't really see that. And created, in other words, you have to purchase the domain name. And from this place, it's about $35 to purchase a set domain name. Obviously, though, using the fair market price, which the NEC allows them to do, they did count that as $12 in their spending forms, which is fine and allowable. But nonetheless, there was a purchase made on that date, meaning that they did bring materials into this campaign very easily. So look at GabeLane.com, which no, I didn't. Sorry. So GabeLane.com. This is the site in question. This is the domain name in question. So it was available to the public on March 17th, 11/27. Happened upon it myself, actually. It was the screenshot you can get the time and date easily enough. But it was more troubling, and is more actually part of the case, actually, on this part, is that it appeared in a POCO endorsement meeting. So in other words, they actually used this campaign material and told it to the POCO board during their endorsement meeting, which the endorsement meeting happened to be the day before monetary campaigning, and their time had to have been between 9 and 9:30. And if you want, you can verify with POCO as well as to when it was, all that. So yeah, so sharing this was indeed actually share with me the fact that they did present their website to the POCO board, an endorser, an official endorsement meeting again. That was shared with Joyce and I in our endorsement meeting. So it was something that we knew about, and it was something that was a problem. And I would actually invite the NEC to look into a statement sent by Bruno Nan and Anthony Cruz, one of which is actually in the room here. Now shared to the Vice Chair of Elections. And what the statement roughly says is, there's like some jests involved, which is great and all, but as a candidate, we have to know what is allowed and what is not, and this is clearly one of those things where you're sharing, campaign materials to an endorser, and an official campaign, by definition, campaigning according to the FPC definition of campaigning kind of forum. So what this all actually comes together to mean, excuse me, it does mean that they, how can I put this? So again, the domain name and Squarespace are separate, right? And that's something that both campaigns recognize. They both recognize that we did spend on domains. And the Delaney and Qatar campaign then, according to their own actual spending forms, did admit that they spent on this domain name. So they admit they spent this, and then they shared this domain name. Whether or not the Squarespace at the time was a free trial offer is not germane at all. What is the fact that this was shared and ahead of the campaign period, and it appears on both of their spending forms. So they both do realize there's a separate difference between the two. That's a bit dry. So, and as you all know, as the NEC, anything that is said at the candidates meeting is, pretty much election law. And, well, I've realized that Fred and I both have the bad taste of speaking with lots of little phrases in the middle, and we put a lot of commas and little line things where you have words inside them. And you can kind of tell it's a convoluted comment, but it's transcribed from the actual candidates meeting. And what it is roughly saying is that this is a precedent thing to bring them up for trial for this, using this campaigning ahead of the period, as well as the fact that it's precedent that it was something that was purchased before the election, so the domain name, which has already been proven to be purchased on December the 17th of 2013, according to those files. Simple enough Google search, really. Things that were owned have monetary value, especially if it's sole elections purpose. And as the website, when it was shown to the POCO board, was purely an elections-based website, clearly follows that, and it does then count as monetary campaigning. And again, why this matters, again, the takeaways being spending did occur for the domain name, again, Squarespace spending or not, on December 17, 2013. It was open to the public and available to people, anyone, including myself, to access simply by pushing a few buttons and basically feeling that you're not like a robot, kind of like I'm basically have to put in, what does this little scribbly bit of numbers say? And more frustratingly, it was shared with an endorser during an official campaigning kind of event. These endorsement meetings are supposed to be, they're very important, they're very, they come by certain rules. It's an official part of campaigning, right? I think we can all pretty well agree with that. Whether or not it's in jest is really ingermane as well, because it was still shared with them. And as candidates, I mean, Gabe did say that he had never read the FPC, which is a little frustrating for someone who has run several times, but we should know better than to do this. And of course, all this is problematic because monetary campaigning began the next day at 7 a.m., which they did adhere to and realize that this is true, because that's when all of them and their surrogates were out putting up posters and things very early. So it's not like something that they did. Yeah.
All right, so a couple things. We'll go straight into this. Probably won't take 8 minutes. We're just going to take you through kind of a timeline. So December 23rd, 2013, GabeDelaney.com was transferred to a customer account as a gift. It was purchased, I think, on the 17th. I wasn't the one who purchased it. I don't know what he just showed you, but the 23rd is when I had it in my possession. It was transferred to my account.
It's proven, yeah.
And it's proven right there. If you look at it, if you look at the date and the very essence of the email, that's what it says. Oh, I should say, this was not used as a campaign tool. And honestly, it was a gift and it basically connected this website to my vice presidential campaign YouTube video last year. So it was kind of just a gift, a cool thing to have. And I never really used it until the 17th at 2:40 a.m. when I signed up for a Squarespace free trial. and these are the emails here, or the actual pictures of the emails. Confirmation that it was at 2:40 a.m. when I got the welcome from Squarespace starting my free trial. No money had been spent up to that point. I had not yet linked the domain name to that particular Squarespace website. At about 3:30 a.m., about an hour and a half later, I transferred the domain name link from YouTube to the URL you see up there. On this, I read, and I kind of followed the rules here, while also listening to the advice of a couple friends who were also good with computers, to please allow 24 to 48 hours for you to change and propagate this domain name to the internet. So it takes about that time for one to, so look at this particular point here. Propagating to the internet gives you instructions as to how to do it. And I did this around 3:30 a.m. knowing that about a day and a half or so, it would fully transfer and it would come right in time for monetary campaigning starting at 7 a.m. There was no publicity of this. The only time it was made public was, as Josh said, in a small meeting amongst friends with POCO. And why do I say friends instead of endorsers? Because we met with POCO like anyone else. I think Josh and Joyce met right afterwards. At the very end of the meeting, we were getting up to leave. And I'll read the statement here by Varun Anand and Anthony Cruz.
We're the co-chairs of POCO.
Co-chairs of POCO. They both saw the page. Not everyone in the room saw the page. I think it was just Varun and maybe one other member. I'm not sure, but I know Varun saw it. So I'll just read it. On Monday, March 17th, the Penn Political Coalition interviewed Gabe Delaney and Julie Vitar for UA endorsements in a closed-door meeting. When we were done with our questions, Delaney commented, "Hey, you guys should check out our website, GabeDelaney.com." Vitar then immediately said in a humorous voice, "We should look at it to make fun of Gabe." Maroon went on to the website, pressed a visitor access code because at the time the website was provisionary and was not complete.
So when you go onto the website, basically you type in whatever link and it redirects you to GabeDelaney.com plus Squarespace or whatever. It'll take you to a blank black screen, and on it's like a code box in the middle. You have to input a code.
Which was a barrier to access.
Yeah. So I mean, it was still free trial. It was only guest access. It wasn't public.
Yeah. And then typed in the visible letters and numbers and went to the site. Not wanting to miss any chance to make fun of Gabe, Baru proceeded to point out several details, including that Julie's name wasn't included in the URL. That happened only because it was a gift, and I was like, oh, darn it, I don't have time to get another one. We'll just use this one that I never used. And so, okay, so that were funny in the website, and other board members found that entertaining as well. By other board members, I mean Anthony and I know one other member, but not everyone saw it because not everyone got up from their seat. After Delaney and Vitar left the room and Kim and Chilcote entered for their interview, Varun informed them that we looked at Gabe's website in a humorous way. Visiting the website that night was clearly not because of campaigning, rather because we wanted to ridicule Gabe's friends. Yeah, signed POCO chairs, Anthony Cruz and Varun.
But you have.
Yeah, essentially, this is akin to having a poster board and decorating it prior to the start of monetary campaigning and asking friends who they are to comment on the coolness or the stylistic aspect of that particular poster, which I believe the NEC does allow. Either way. The 18th at 9:12 in the morning is when we purchased the subscription plan from Squarespace, which is marked here, 9:12 in the morning, right there. And then the first time it was publicly posted, although this one doesn't have a particular time, I tried to find it. This one does, 2:12 p.m. This was done, I know, after this particular time because I was in class all day.
I made the website on the day of monetary campaign.
Exactly. So that's when we publicly posted it for the first time so people could access it. That's where we got our really first wave of viewership. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
We'll now move into the NEC questioning period. Now, if you want to get on the queue, raise your hand, and we'll add it to you.
So this is for all three of you guys. But Josh, how did you access the website without any sort of private code? And if it wasn't public, how was he able to access the website without any code?
On the code, Can I answer?
You go first.
All right, so how it is, it's kind of like, if you verify on a site whether or not you're a person, if they want to make sure that it isn't a fake profile, which we'll get back to that later. You have to put in, it looks like it's like an 8, a 7, a 6, and they're all like weird like shape order. And you're supposed to basically write out that. It's a very similar kind of thing, but it is very easily accessible to anyone who does know what letters and numbers are.
No, I agree. If you go on the page, it's a black screen with a box for a code. Above the box for the code is the code.
Yeah.
So it just shows the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Because it was still free trial, it wasn't paid for, and it wasn't public.
Exactly.
But
you go ahead.
So it was not a barrier to entry to anyone who could discern a basic code.
So I mean, we couldn't block, like we couldn't actually stop like the website from being accessed. I guess in general, if you access the actual, if you put in the actual code, but it took, we know, 24 to 48 hours for the domain name to pass over, and that's what it said on the website, which we took that as the point saying, all right, we'll wait the 24, 48 hours, and it'll pass over. You can access the site, that's perfectly fine, because at that time it was still free. We had spent no money. So the existence of the website is not the issue, I think. I think the problem is knowing when it actually transferred over, which we thought, it correctly said, 24 to 48 hours. And that's what we based our decision to link it to. Yeah.
I have two questions. First, a clarification for Fred. What clarifications were made by you regarding the available uses of personal domain names to the candidates?
So online on our NEC website, there is a Q&A section. 5 weeks ago, I believe the actual date is February 26, 2014, a candidate who is in the room right now asked me the question, if a candidate already owns and uses a domain name and web hosting, will the candidate be required to document expenses for his or her site if it's used for campaigning purposes? My answer, which is publicly on the internet and is available to anyone who looks on the NEC website, is the short answer is yes. First, keep in mind that nothing of monetary value may be used in campaigning until March 18, 2014.
Okay. And as a question to Josh. How were you and Joyce able to block access to your website before the start of monetary campaign?
Yeah, sure. So you can actually put up one of those pages not operating or pages being worked on sites, so you can't access it rather than having the barrier of being able to transcribe English.
Spencer?
Yes.
Frank?
This is for Gabe and Julie. Why did you purchase Squarespace afterwards if you had a free trial?
Because we knew that the Squarespace account would incur costs anyways, because we knew that starting the website on the 18th, it would have essentially cost us money starting on like the 26th or 27th. Because it was only a 13-day trial, we knew that the actual campaign lasted longer than that, based on when we started it. So that's why we actually bought it. Yeah. Also, we did not want the barrier to entry anymore. We wanted it to be, because we thought it would be like a clear problem. Like if people saw this and they said, oh, I have to put in a code, then this is not going to go on the website. Because we want to minimize however many barriers we can to people actually doing it, because we know the time is limited for people. So if we bought the actual membership or the subscription, we knew that you could just go straight to the website. We didn't do that until 9/12.
David? Sure. So you guys talked about how this was in jest and then a public statement. It was friends in a room, making fun of Gabe. You would all think that it could be considered inappropriate because you were in a formal, and it says it in the statement by Varun and Anthony, you were in a formal UA endorsement meeting, and you could consider Varun and Anthony having their POCO co-chair hats on as opposed to their joking friends hats on.
Not at the moment.
No, because we literally had gotten up and I was laughing and saying it, and
We're all the way
also,
out.
yeah. And why would I ridicule him if we were trying to get him an endorsement? Also, I didn't get an endorsement. I wasn't.
Yeah. But also, the way that I said, hey, look at the website, it wasn't like, hey, look at the website right now,
To validate,
exactly.
to vote for us, to endorse us.
I said, yeah, check out the website, give me a message, let me know what you
It
think
literally
as
doesn't have the
friends,
name.
not as hey, POCO, look at this website, look at how valid this is, endorse it. It wasn't meant for that purpose, which is what Josh says that we meant it for.
I wanted to clarify what you were saying about your domain name being issued with a gift.
Sure.
Well, first off, I'm a little bit confused as to why there's a date confusion. So there's a December 17th, which you searched Josh and found as a purchase date, which.
Or renewal, it's a purchase or renewal.
purchase order renewal?
Because it's a year-long subscription through the registry that is it's actually the most common registry in Google.
Because your vice presidential campaign last year, you used.
Sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
Your vice presidential campaign last year, you used the same domain name?
I didn't use any website for my vice president.
Okay, because you said you linked it to YouTube.
I didn't
Sorry.
link any of it because this was given to me as a gift. And by Fred Ding, can I say that? I'm sorry. I didn't want to say that, but because I know his position. But yeah, no, it's fine. So he was given me as a gift, and essentially it was linked. Like if you went to the domain name, it would link you straight to that EP video from YouTube. That was really up until that date when it transferred into my customer, my actual account, all the way to March 17th. Actually, really into March 18th when it actually became live, and you could just access it directly. But yeah, that was.
So as a follow-up, at any point in time, did you pay for the domain name, or when you put it down in the spending form, was that just the fair market?
That was the fair market value. I never paid for it.
Yeah, although we didn't incur any cost personally, we still accounted for the cost in our expense.
Yep. As well as the membership, the subscription to Squarespace.
Yeah, so this is to Gabe and Julie. As part of your website, do you have like a hit counter or a way of knowing how many people access the website before monetary campaigning began?
Yes, we do. Would you like to show you that? Sure. Keep in mind that these were.
I also accessed it many times before it was open.
So did I, obviously.
Had to watch it.
On different websites, apart from this one.
Alec, point of inquiry, how much time is remaining in this period?
Motion to extend time by
Second.
5 minutes.
Second.
For NEC, on the questioning.
All those in favor? Motion passes.
Sorry. So, audience size was 18, site visits was 84. That was because I had obviously looked at it many, many times, and I had asked many friends in my particular close circle, so did Julie. Yeah. So, but the audience size is about 15.
I just want to go over the history of the domain name again. So the first time you had any involvement with GabeDelaney.com was in December when it was transferred to you as a gift?
Yeah, oh, sorry, can I just clarify, this is the number you guys should be paying attention to? The 15, sorry, just because it's the audience size. No, the page views is different, it's rather irrelevant, but, sorry, just, go ahead.
Can you exit out of my email, please?
Yeah. Oh, it was up there,
No problem. So you took ownership of the domain name in December, is that right?
Yes, December 23rd.
So then what was the purpose of the domain name between then and when it became your candidate website?
When did it?
What was the website before it became the campaign page for Gabe and Julie?
http://gabe-delaney.squarespace.com, which was like not. That was the free trial. That's what it looked like. Like if you were to search Gabe Delaney, you would have to scroll down through Google, and eventually you might find it, and that was the URL that you'd see, and that was free trial. So
then once once they turned it over from free trial and added the domain name to the actual account, that's
when you'd incur the domain name.
You would look up GabeDelaney.com and it would transfer you to Squarespace. GabeDelaney to Squarespace.
Yeah, that's
so. What was the URL name when POCO saw the website for the first time?
That's a good question. You'd have to ask Brudenand or Anthony.
You're not witnesses.
They're not witnesses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chrissy?
How do you?
So this question is also for Gabe and Julie. So do you agree that the domain name that you put on your spending form was viewable by the public on March 17th?
Sorry, I'm speaking through this. Sorry, say that again. I'm sorry.
Do you agree with the statement that the domain name that you accounted for on your spending form was viewable by the public on March 17th?
That I don't know, because the domain name was supposed to transfer from 24 to 48 hours. I went on that particular notion. I didn't check every single second to make sure that like when the exact moment was, and I actually looked when the turnover happened. I expected it to be 24 to 48 hours as it was said. I did try and see when. I tried to research how I could find out when it actually transferred over. I couldn't find anything on actually finding out when or how.
So follow-up question, when the guys from Pogo looked for your website, did they type in GabeDelaney.com, which is the
Yeah, if you
domain?
were to type in GabeDelaney.com on Google, it would take you to that particular website. Now,
It redirects you to this, I think.
but it redirects you to that. That's what was, I know that for a fact. That is what I know prior to the 18th I saw. And I don't know when that became GabeDelaney.com. That's what I don't know.
But GabeDelaney.com still brought you to your website on March 17th.
It could still bring you to this. Yeah. All good? But again, this is the free trial one, so, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like not to keep belaboring the point, but just a question on kind of the mechanics of Squarespace. I'm not too familiar with that. I'm more familiar with Splashblock, etc. Is there not a feature where you can kind of turn off your page and put it in like a beta form so that when someone logs onto the page, that they just kind of see like this is the page, like it'll come later, or was it like intentional that you wanted to have this special visitors access form, or was it just that you weren't aware of this?
I wasn't aware. Honestly, it's more like if I knew how to block it, I guess I would. But again, I didn't publicize this to anyone. I didn't tell. I mean, besides like my close friends, like I said, who I asked, hey, look, could you look at this for a second and give me an
I need to do
idea?
the same thing too,
Right.
and if it's only on his account, like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like from what I understand from the NEC and from what I've heard from you guys, you could ask people for stylistic advice prior to going out and actually spending, your money.
So just to follow up to that, so when you were showing the website to them, were you, because there is the admin version, right? So there's the version that you can look at from the perspective of the admin. Were you showing it to them to kind of test out the website, so you're letting them test the link? Or were you logging in as an admin and letting them look at your page?
I was letting, they had to enter a visitor access code. I didn't
yeah,
enter anything.
they were looking at it as a visitor, and it was literally, we were just laughing at Gabe because he didn't put my name in the URL, and that's literally just what happened, and then we left. And then Bruin told them that they saw it.
You have a motion?
Motion to extend time by 3 minutes for the NEC question period. All those in favor, please lift your hand. All those opposed, please lift your hand. Motion carries.
Citation?
Okay, great. So my question is about the official capacity of the meeting with POCO. So in the statement, it precisely says that Anthony and Bruin, that Gabe, you said, sorry, this is Gabe, that you said, hey, you guys should check out our website, GabeDelaney.com. And that's the phrase that they said. In what capacity was this phrase said, right? Because if it was said, sorry, that's just.
Yeah, no, I had it, so.
Literally, we had gotten up, like the meeting was over, we had gotten up, we were leaving, and as we were leaving, like, yeah, you should check it out, GabeDelaney.com, we're just like laughing, and it was like.
But this is Gabe said that. Right?
Yeah, I was
and
like,
then I said you
yeah.
said something in joke afterwards, but that's the just part, I'm asking about the first part.
Yeah, so it was like, hey, share GabeDelaney.com, give me a message, let me know what you guys think about the page, because I'm looking for advice. That's essentially like what I said. Again, it wasn't like, yeah. So that is what I said. I remember that.
Okay, Bob.
Few questions. Josh, do you know when you entered the room to meet with POCO?
So our meeting time was 9:30 to 10. I recall that it was running a little bit late because they were talking a little more. As far as like exact minute, I can't give you, unfortunately.
And question for Gabe and Julie. Just so I can understand a little bit better the distinction between friends and endorsers for POCO, did you understand the distinction to be during the meeting and after the meeting?
during the meeting was endorsers and after the meeting was friends?
Yeah, like we started talking about other things. We started talking about like the dessert that I just ate, or because there was someone in the room, I forget her name, who made desserts, and I was saying this is really good. What's in it? It's a strawberry, and it was like, oh, you guys should go. Josh and Joyce are waiting outside. Like, all right. By the way, check out gateland.com and you know the rest of the story. We were not talking about POCO issues, and that, I mean, you could call Varun, Anthony's over there. I mean, that's what they'll say. So.
Fred, when you purchased the domain name, did it possess monetary value?
Yes.
Did you make them aware that the domain name possessed monetary value with us?
I have a question about the meeting, 2 questions actually. Who was in the meeting? The entire POCO board?
It was the entire POCO board, myself and Julie.
Did everyone have the ability to hear the statement you said, hey, you guys should check out the website, gabedelaney.com?
Yes, everyone had the ability to hear it, yes.
To your knowledge, did anyone else look at the website besides Varun and Anand?
The only person I saw was Varun doing it. No one else had their computer out.
No, it was on someone else's computer.
That's right. There was the second person. I don't know what the name of that person is.
Okay, and a completely separate question. If I had gone, for example, on like January 15th, 2014, so long before this cycle started, to gabedelaney.com, what would have happened?
You would have been linked straight to my to a YouTube video that showed my video for my vice presidential campaign. That was a year ago.
Unless there's any motions at the end of the NEC's question period.
Point of clarification, how many people are looking up?
None.
Yeah, motion to extend. Public questions.
Is there a second?
You can just extend that. No, it's
All right, so we're going to open it up to the public. Keep in mind there's still 9 members of the NEC who will be doing priority. And then we'll
But if you're in the public and you'd like to get on the queue, raise your hand now, or I can see it.
Fred?
My question is for Fred. Fred, what communication did you have with POCO?
So the night of March 17th, I believe, after their endorsement meeting, Varun and Anand called me by phone asking whether it was allowable for someone to use their website beforehand, at which point I checked the website and I saw the CAPTCHA and I thought it would accept it. Additionally, Varun sent us a statement by email, which is their statement to the FPC, but I will note as a matter of fact that the metadata on the file shows Julie Buttar as the author. The author of the Word document is Julie Buttar. POCO statements.
Yeah, pick it up on your computer.
What's the topic? Sorry, this is just great. Can we follow it now? Can you ask her for anything?
No, they had to submit a list of witnesses at least 3 hours prior to the next meeting.
Okay.
That's just a point of clarification for Josh. How did you know to look for Gabe's website on the 17th? Was it just because of the POCO meeting where they mentioned the website?
Yeah, afterwards, POCO had said to look at it. Other members of the POCO board were clearly viewing it at the time. I'm not quite sure whether or not you guys realized it, but as much as you may be friends with Brewer and Anthony, the other people in the room also were looking at it, and they were sharing it with us.
Thank you.
So according to the data on your account, like exactly 15 users were audiences to the page prior to the start of monetary campaigning. I was just wondering if you can account for exactly how many of those people were close friends of people that you were just asking to give opinions on the page.
So you had it on your computer, on your desktop, on your laptop, on my laptop, on my friend's laptop that I was at lunch with, on the girl who was in POCO meetings laptop, on
Varun's computer.
On Josh's laptop. I don't know.
And the 8 other ones. I know, so for my own friend group, I studied with, I mean, I'm not going to say the names because that'd be awkward. But I study with, obviously, with people every single day. Many of them are engineers, and I asked for each of their opinion. I basically study with 4 or 5 people every day. And then I also live in the quad, and I have many, many freshmen that I talk to, and I'm like, hey, look, what do you think about this page? Would you go on there? What do you think about it? Is it nice? Is it formatted well? And those, I mean, up to the point that it was 15, yeah. That's obviously the number, but, yeah. Ron?
Was the captioning you had as the visitor access code a default setting, or was that something you guys implemented yourself?
We had an option to put that on there.
And you decided to put that?
Yes. Good.
So how many people are in the photo board? Just for David.
What is Poco board? It's,
Can we ask?
yeah, I coach 6 or 7 people. I don't know how many people are on Poco board. The 2 co-chairs, there's a vice chair, there's external affairs.
How many people?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely positive. I was just saying, okay, lumber, that's okay. I didn't find myself so officially can see some which I can.
Yeah, and again, I don't think everyone in the room did not watch it.
It's Ezra, Kyle,
Varun Anthony.
Three others, so it's around 8 people.
And a completely unrelated question, so just a clarification on the actual domain or the actual website. So before it was made public, if I were to go on the website, it would give me like a code that says like, for example, BX5785, and I would just have to enter that. Was there any other way of making it so that it was more secure, like for example, a WordPress site where you can have someone enter like the username and password?
I think in this, you have to give me a little leeway. This is, I'm not like I'm a political science guy. I'm not, and I don't know the difference between like 6 different types of websites. I used Squarespace. I was like, oh, this is really good formatting. All right, we use that, and then I had the option of putting the visitor access code. Like, all right, we can't make this public. Did that. I didn't know you could block it completely. I looked through the options. Like, how do I make this not? And I couldn't find any. At least not to my knowledge.
And he was super nervous about this website.
He was.
Personal note. He was super nervous. That's why he was asking people for advice on it.
So according to Fred, the metadata on the website says it was composed on Julie's Word program. Is that the correct interpretation of that? Were either of you present when this statement was drafted by the FOCO board?
Yeah.
Yes.
Both of you were present?
Mm-hmm.
Did either
They
of
asked to use my computer.
So
Everyone specifically asked me, can I use your computer? I said, here, take it.
when was it drafted?
Last night.
Yesterday.
Okay, and did either of you have any input on the wording of this statement?
I did not.
No.
Thank you.
Dave?
Pass.
Ernie?
Yeah. Two-part question, short. First question is, given that you now are aware of what surrogate mean by definition, is Anthony Cruz a surrogate of yours? Given the nature of what you know what a surrogate is now?
Yes. Anthony definitely helped me flyer.
Okay. Given the nature of the fact that he's also a chair of POCO and the relationship between that, how did you define what was a friend and / an endorser when showing him this website, knowing that he would have some ability to have say in how endorsements go? So showing him the website could have also been interpreted. Would you say that showing him the website could have easily been a way to, 1, influence his way of making the endorsement, or 2, showing him as a friend, given the setting and the nature of the meeting in which you held with him at that present time?
No, I would not say that it affected his endorsement process and his decision. He did not endorse me.
I'm talking to Gabe. I do.
Okay. Sorry, but just Ernest, please be kind to Julie. She's not a.
That's fine. I'm asking a question. I'm asking you.
I know. Just
okay.
Just be respectful. Oh my God. Okay. Either way, no. I mean, Anthony's a friend of mine. Joyce has many friends on many boards. That doesn't really. I mean, does it affect her
website?
Does it affect their decision? Of course it does. I mean, I'm not. Let's be honest. But I mean, does showing a website to Anthony make him more likely to endorse me? No. The friendship that we've had over the course of 3 years probably makes him more likely to endorse me. That has nothing to do with that. And honestly, at the end of the day, he is a friend whose advice I carry very strongly. And so I asked for his advice on the website. So, and same thing for Varun.
Even though you didn't ask this question to me, my name is also on this, so I can also address it. I am the chair of the Penn Undergraduate Health Coalition. I am the chair of the Penn Undergraduate Health Coalition. Does that affect my endorsement?
The question was addressed to Gabe.
Okay.
It's okay. Next thing. Okay. Anthony?
Two-part question, one to Josh, one to Gabe. First, Josh, Ernest's website endorsed you and was listed on your website as an endorser, yet his website was created before the campaign, like Gabe's website. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and second question to Gabe. Around Christmas time, did Fred also give gifts to other friends?
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Motion to extend time by 10 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, raise your hand high. All those opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thanks. So my question's for the NEC, two of them. So first is, I'm not familiar with the FPC rules, whatever. Are candidates allowed to buy monetary materials before the monetary campaigning period begins? They're allowed to buy. Okay. The second question is, so using the poster example that Gabe referenced earlier in his argument, and equating an unpublicized website to a poster board behind an unlocked door, are candidates penalized for leaving their incomplete campaigning materials in their unlocked door rooms? Would that be something that would merit sanctions or negative action from the NEC?
It's something that might be brought to trial, and we would then deliberate as to merits of that case.
Okay.
So this question is for Gabe. From my understanding of your website, when you first were working on it, it used the free Squarespace option. And is it possible that those 15 views, those 15 people who viewed your page, didn't actually view your page through gabedelaney.com, but rather the other URL that was a free URL provided by Squarespace?
Yes, because at the time that was created, it was under this particular URL. So yes.
All right, so question for Gabe. So at around 9:30 p.m. when you said, hey guys, you should check out our website, gabedelaney.com, at that point were you aware that gabedelaney.com wasn't synced with your Squarespace?
No.
You just...
Again, if you read here, I went by what this told me, which was that it said 24 to 48 hours for it to transfer. So I was like, all right, okay, it's going to take 24 to 48 hours. So by the time monetary campaigning starts tomorrow...
Okay, I get that. But to follow up then, so then why were you giving out the address gabedelaney.com to POCO if, in your mind, it was not yet live?
Because it would have linked to this URL. It was just it was easier to say than http:// gabe-delaney.
So if it linked immediately, what were you waiting 48 hours for?
I was waiting for this URL to transfer into gabedelaney.com and for the access code to be taken off after I bought the actual plan. Right?
Yeah, so you said that there was another girl in the POCO meeting whose laptop was used to sign up to the website directly?
Yes.
And do you consider that girl, whose name you cannot remember, a close confidant campaign to suffice your solicitor?
No, I would not say that. She viewed it because I think Varun was viewing it. John?
Yeah, so my question is for Gabe and Julie. Did you add anything to the website or edit the website past the point, like, after March 17th, besides just, like, changing the access? Like, was new content there? Like, I guess I'm trying to ask, like, what content is on the website?
So, yeah, the site was incomplete. There were a lot of blank pages. There was no campaign. I mean, if you go there now, there's a campaign video link, there's a Daily Pennsylvania article link, there's all the endorsements that we got. None of that stuff was on there. It was a very barren website. It had our platform, I think, and I think Josh had a graphic of it. Had our platform, who we are, and home page, and a link to where to vote, because we wanted to link it to the NEC site, or to the Penn State website. That's all.
Okay. May I quickly? Well, I just don't really understand electronics that much, but I do know how to Google things. So. Quickly going up, sorry. Okay, so are you aware that, unlike what you just said, you could type in gabedelaney.com and it went directly to gabedelaney.com, as you can see there. It wasn't the Squarespace one?
Yeah, I wasn't aware that it transferred at that time.
Wait, this,
Right,
no, wait,
on
wait.
an additional, well, that's, may I have a question to send then? Did our campaign reach out with questions about this, or what advice did you give us?
So the Joyce and Josh campaign reached out to me because they also purchased a Squarespace, and their website initially went live before the start of monetary campaigning, but also before the start of any campaign. It was before, essentially, it was before spring break. So I reached out to them to let them know that this could be against the monetary campaigning rules, at which point they took it down, and the website showed a Squarespace under construction page for the entirety until 7 a.m. on that day. So,
And then were you guys aware that you could do this, or did you make any effort to actually simply like search it, whether or not this functionality existed?
I made a clear effort to search how we could block the page completely until that point, but the only thing that I could find was the access code.
Pass. Spencer?
Pass.
Frank?
Even though you didn't expect the website to go live, not properly connected, or whatever, for 24 to 48 hours, did you see them log on to the website when you were in the room?
After the program?
You witnessed them.
We're laughing
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, Varun had,
So this is to you, Julie. I'm trying to make sure everything's straight here. So the question is that the Squarespace URL was a free URL this time, correct? And when they went and saw your page with the access code or whatever, they were doing that through the Squarespace URL.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay, good. And then I also have a question for Josh. I know you're not on trial here, but I just have a. Would your materials being on Earnest Media Empire, a also paid for domain and website, not violate the same things that you are proposing that they allegedly violated?
Sure, I'd love to answer that. And in fact,
I can answer
that's just me, unfortunately. So I guess first off, to kind of, I think we did just see that you don't actually have to type in the Squarespace one ahead of this campaign spending period. I was able to type in gateway.com, and it clearly went directly to there and stated my URL, regardless that it did not switch like they claimed it did. As far as whether or not we were on Ernest's website, we were not officially on his website until he released his endorsements, which were later on in the week. And we're not up there as like an official part of that. As far as otherwise though, endorsers are allowed to publicize for candidates and not like spend on behalf. And if it's something that's pre-existing for the endorsers, they can do that. This is a little different. You can endorse that, as far as I know.
So following up to what, I don't know if it's kind of Christy asked, between the POCO meeting and the first time you linked the page, I believe, to your Facebook page, what was added to the website?
yeah, so we had changed the background of it. We had also changed certain elements of the platform. We had also added, I think, we had made some grammatical changes to the who we are part. And then, what else? We received word about some endorsements. We had added those endorsements in.
So at the time of the first link, I guess, there was still some like provisions so that things can change.
Yeah, it was a very provisionary. If you look at the, so if you saw the picture before, the background was like a
It's different than a
coffee shop, because I didn't know how the hell to change that. So we moved it something else. But yeah.
We didn't publicize it also.
We did not publicize it.
Motion to come review.
Second. All those agree with it?
How many people on the queue?
What's that?
How many people are on the queue?
7. All those in favor? All those opposed? The motion passes. David?
Great, all right. This is a two-part question, so please bear with me. The first part, I'll direct to Josh. So the timestamp, and can we go back to the screenshot, please? Perfect. So the timestamp says 11:27 p.m. And not to accuse you, but would it be possible to go on and change the date? If it's so, we all know that it's possible to go onto your computer and change your date and time. And if this was done, not saying that it was, but if it was possible to be done, and this I guess can be directed also to Fred, the more technologically inclined. But if this was done after monetary campaigning began on March 18th, and then so you logged on to gabling.com would this, and then if you change the date and time on your computer, would this have led to the same URL, the first URL, or would it be possible to like go back and use the original URL, or if this happened, if this picture was taken on Tuesday or Wednesday or that week later on, would it be possible to lead to the original URL, or because it was taken later in the week, would it be to the new URL, the Squarespace?
Hold on. By original URL, do you mean the free babe-delaney.squarespace.com?
The one, yes.
What's the question?
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay. So, yeah.
What?
What is the Squarespace?
Okay. The free Squarespace URL continues to be active and can still be accessed as a credit. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually just had the same question, like the possibility of possibly changing the time on your computer to demonstrate that.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been a possibility, but I mean, that's why I'm not the only one who clearly was not involved in their campaign, not a close friend of theirs, as they testified, who did access that on that night. And they even testified as such. They're members of the COCO board that were not, again, friends like they're claiming they only were sharing.
But you're running against that.
Right, I understand, but that's why I'm not the only piece of evidence. And if I were the only one, I wouldn't be able to bring this charge because I know exactly how it looks. It's more about the actual rules.
Harlan?
This is a question directed to Fred. Can you clarify the policies involving endorsers specifically before monetary campaigning starts?
I'm sorry, I'm just typing down your question. In general, endorsers are not permitted to spend money on behalf of any candidates. This applies to student groups such as Monkey Motor. If they were to endorse someone, they're not allowed to spend money on behalf of the candidate. But they are allowed to promote the candidate through their listserv, through their website, through means that they already have.
I just had a clarification question for Fred. When Gabe said the domain was purchased as a gift in December, when it was purchased as a gift in December, was that for the purpose of campaigning or political activity, or was that just for a personal domain name?
So this is clearly not my VC role speaking, but it was purchased for a personal use, as anyone can start a portfolio website or a blog, as I've done on frederickdoing.com, or as Ernest has done with a media site at ernestowens.com. So there was no intention that this necessarily had to be a campaigning use.
I have two questions. So when did you say the background on this changed?
So before we posted at 2:12 p.m. the next day, we had made some changes because I had gotten some feedback from some friends of mine, one from Columbia, another senior at Penn, and they told me, oh, look, you have some grammatical mistakes here, and you should clear up this platform piece. So it was before our posting at 2:12 p.m. the next day.
So you're saying, so before monetary campaigning started, the background of this was no longer a coffee shop?
Before monetary campaigning?
Yeah.
No, we changed it after monetary campaigning.
And Julie, despite the fact that it's called gabeling.com, do you consider this your campaign website as well?
Yeah.
So back to the COCO meeting, when you stated check out the website gabeling.com, did you see what they typed in? Did they type in gabeling.com?
I didn't see what they typed in.
And I assume you don't know what the URL read when it was typed in and they were viewing your site. You don't know what the URL said?
I don't know what the URL said. I had assumed it would still say the former URL because I was going under the assumption that it was 24 to 48 hours as I...
Just to be clear, the former URL being Squarespace.
Yeah.
And that's the end of you.
Josh Chilcote, you will now present your charge against Gabe Delaney. Josh, whenever you're ready, you got it.
Alright, excuse me. Alright, shall we dive right in? So, again, this one's directly about Gabe particularly. Overview of the charges. Inaccurate listing of spending forms. This is one most, overspending. They claimed it was exactly $49.79, which is really lovingly close. As well as not listing all spent items, as well as not acting to remove the actions of claimingly false surrogates. And in failing to do so, they would then have to report those surrogate spendings, but they did not. So first off, flyers. So this is a correspondence about a huge number of flyers that went out, both Radiant in different places. It's a very special type of flyer. I actually have it in my bag. If I could quickly grab it. So the difference is, Gabe did say that there was no. Thank you so much. That those flyers were taken into account, which is great and lovely, and that's the thing you're supposed to do. But the difference is how you account for them. So they used on there the what you guys consider to be the standard price for black and white pages, a simple piece of paper, but just very fairly, and I can pass these around a little bit. These are specially cut. They have to be a special size. You have to get this copy. Did not turn any other receipts for these. They actually have a nice gloss finish to them as well. If NAC would mind, I did submit these as well. These, for goodness sake, these are nicer than the Rush flyers I designed, and also more expensive by fact. So again, mostly bringing up that. Again, there's no receipt filed for these, so they did use the fair market value, but the fair market value is not actually for those kind of documents. You can actually feel the difference between those pages and the pages in front of you, NAC, and that's really, I think, the spirit of that line. But that's a little nitpicky. So let's go to something just purely on numbers based, right? So they did list 35 colored posters, which is great because they were beautiful and colorful. There were those yellow ones that were out, so well, for most of the time. So Joyce and I go out on monetary campaign in the beginning, and we hang up our posters around. We had over 50 hung up, and yet there seemed to be one of these nice little yellow kind of cartoonish Gabe Delaney and Julie Todd posters that. But it rained, and this is actually type, which would be Wednesday the 19th. So they disappeared. And if you recall, most recently they were replaced by these suddenly these pink Delaney and guitar, big lettering, very bold, very easy to read from a distance, unlike the other ones that took their place. Unfortunately, I was able to grab a picture of those before between filing and when they took them down. It is full on there, I admit. Yet, still their actual spending form accounted for 35 total between both colors. So saying that, it's more something that's kind of, you have to bring it on is what you've seen, and as all of you, you guys are out there at the early hours making sure that we're putting up posters at the right time, not starting too early, I think more than a few of you have seen these differently. So, but now that we're on to that bit, Facebook likes, I think we've all pretty well heard and seen the fake Facebook accounts that have gone up. But there's one thing that does connect, and something that unfortunately wasn't brought up before.
Yes.
This organization, which is an organization in which you buy Facebook likes, was something that was liked, that likes their page, as well as seemingly connected to the other Facebook likes. On this page, it links to a place where you type in, as you have your Facebook information, as well as then you have to purchase your Facebook likes. In exchange, you get coins, and those coins turn into X number of Facebook likes. These were not accounted for. Now, they're going to claim, they have claimed that someone else may have done this for them. But that's great. They have said that they have officially not had any surrogates. Yet, here's a communication between one of their prime surrogates, someone who scraped the pen directory, downloaded an email directly to Gabe, who sent out then mass emails that would then be reported to ISC and Fred Hazies and Gabe's versus to the NEC. This was reported to OSC, the Office of Student Conduct, because they did come also from Gabe's personal Gmail account. So it's clearly connecting. He's giving them emails. Gabe clearly uses them. And it's very obvious that this person is someone working for their campaign. The PPR thing is interesting because there's also a connection. That same site that pays for Facebook likes and PPR are connected in more of these fake Facebook likes, which is lovely. And you can't really claim that they said that these people weren't their surrogates anymore because while, for instance, in this case, Dan Levitz did take down all of his campaign material from his Facebook page, which is great and kind of also suspicious in itself, that I did were able to see one where he did share on their page. Otherwise, he did remove all of the shares of their page's accounts, but he did miss one. So a clear connection there. So what this is actually about. So this is about what you have to do when you discover that there's someone working on your behalf. And that's 7A2. So you find out that someone who's campaigning on your behalf with his or her, without his or her knowledge, made by the FPC, the candidate should immediately do it as in his or her power to end the actions potentially in violation of the FPC. And document, which they can claim that they deleted things, but they actually document his or her efforts as possible and alert the vice chair of elections immediately. So again, surrogates. I'll let you guys decide whether or not that's true. It seems pretty likely, although, I mean, if you're going to be smart, all they can say is, no, we didn't do it. We didn't have surrogates, which is a great thing to say, but, I mean, there's kind of some strong, compelling evidence connecting. But unfortunately, other than the fact that they were directly coordinating the emails, you can't fully connect. Do they alert the vice chair? Yeah, good. Gabe did great doing that. We saw the email. Did you do what was in his or her power and document to do so to end the actions? And that's where this lays. Absolutely not. So, in summation, on their actual spending forms, there's only room for 21 cents more. It's a very convenient number, one that, again, we've kind of shown. If you account for the actual price of the flyers, which they refused to actually produce receipts for, and instead cited a different kind of material than what was actually offered by you guys as the fair market price, that will bump that up. If you count all the posters, which again is more anecdotal, unfortunately, because I wasn't going to go out there and because it's called diversity and count every single one, but I mean, all of you did see the number without it bump that up. But, and this is also a very big crux of it, the buying likes to Facebook and not reporting them. So if they claim that it's, I mean, if you admit that they are their surrogates, they would have to put them onto the page. Since we have linked PPR and their Facebook page to this advertising company that buys likes. But if they, they didn't do anything about it, they didn't deal with it appropriately is also something that's a prominent violation itself. So by not removing the likes, they did say, and they testified earlier, saying that, oh, it was a crucial point of the campaign, and we don't want it, they could come back. That's not at all accurate. As the admin, you can see exactly, excuse me, you can see exactly who likes it, and you can make them remove their name. You can delete them, and you can ban them from your website. So did they do as in his or her power to end the actions and document doing so? No, Gabe did not. They can say, oh, look at the spending on their admin page. They didn't use the admin page to buy things. That's not the point. And you can still see today, and hopefully this House of Cards does fall, a 789 pages liking it. And I'm going to be very honest, it is not that hard to figure out how it is that you remove Facebook likes. And that's going to be demonstrated. It's the first link.
Gabe.
Sure. You'd have to go back to the PowerPoint bit.
All right, so Josh is talking about flyers and talking about how many were created. I do not have any knowledge of any of the flyers or the ones that I printed. So what's on the spending sheet is 450 sheets of flyer paper which were cut. 900 flyers, I cut them myself, and 35 sheets of colored paper. On the very first day, we put up 14. I'm not sure where you're getting the 50 number from, but we put out 14 different flyers on trees. That was as much time as we had to pretty much put them on. They kind of took a while because we were putting the string on. And then we replaced them. We put up 15 new ones. And those were on pink paper, and those were different than the yellow ones, which we originally put out. And those were on very basic paper, colored, all that. In terms of distribution, how it all worked, I don't know why this is kind of overlapping. I think it didn't transfer very well. But Roden, Harnwell, and Harrison each got 150 flyers each. The Quad had 120. 12 of them were colored because of the mistake that I made in terms of putting the paper in the right place. Those were also accounted for in that 35 number. That's why the 14 and the 15 number are not equal to 35. There were 6 other pages. 12 of them were flyers. And then the Radian, Kings Court, each got 50 flyers each. And then Gregory received 30 flyers. Most of these we knocked on doors. Some of them we knew people who were in the rooms based on the actual statement, or sorry, the actual name on the door, and then we just put them under the door. The remainder I actually had in my hand, and I walked around and knocked on all the doors in the high rises. Went through Huntsman several times and talked to people, and those who were not willing to vote at that moment, I had my iPad out. I said, all right, that's fine. I gave them a little spiel, and I gave them my flyer. Okay, in terms of pen cash expenses, all of my expenses for printing were done via my pen cash account. If you look through this, I'm sorry, I'm also willing to release my debit card account, my Chase credit card, and debit card to look through any kind of claims you kind of say. In terms of printing, you can look through here. If you were to add up all of the negatives, this is where you actually spend money, you would not be able to get to $90, which is what his particular complaint alleges, says that I used 1,800 flyers total. That's not true. And then the total expenses last month was $54.50. That is both for readings that I have for classes and for campaign materials. I will say that probably the number you guys want to focus on when you guys make the calculations, if you guys want to make them, is probably around here. Again, it's mixed in with printings for readings and campaign materials. Unfortunately, I don't remember every single print that I made for the last, 2 weeks, because I do go to class like everybody else. And then, in terms of Julie's expenses, her last expense was on the 27th of February. And that was also for printing. That was 70 cents. The conclusion, the claim that excess flyers were printed is baseless and is unsupported by any of our financial records. I'm not sure what you were talking about in terms of emails. That I don't think was the complaint. But this is what I have in terms of the flyer count, how it was actually paid for, and all those things. Yeah.
Now going to 7 minutes of NEC question.
This is for both Josh and Gabe. I just want to clarify the flyer that you're passing around, which is larger than a quarter-size flyer. What exactly the claim? Could you reiterate anything that implies, and could you respond?
Sure. So first off, the claim is that it's not the same. It's not the paper that is quoted in the actual candidate's packet as the fair market price. It's a different type. It has a wax coat on it that you can actually get, and you can also get them specially sized and cut. If you notice that it would fit oddly on a page, but barely, that is something that campus copy does do, and that's the allegation there. As far as, and also it's just misreporting of these things and not having the receipt.
I'm more than willing to show any of my financial records to show that that's not true and that there have been no transactions with campus copy. The last time I did that was last semester, so I don't. It's just not true. In terms of the paper, I printed it from Ware, which is where I live, and I cut them myself. We have a paper cutter that I talked to David Kegler, who's the house coordinator. I asked him to use the paper cutter to cut the paper, and I did it myself. There's specific metrics on the paper cutter. So you can cut it pretty evenly every single time, and that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I have just a few questions. First one to Josh. I'm a little confused as to how you connect Dan Levinson to the Facebook likes. So could you just elaborate on that, please?
Sure. So it's just generally something that, while Gabe may not account for something personally, it's thing that individuals are spending for him. So what it is, the connection is mostly through the emails, clearly showing that he has been working with Gabe. And when he's working with Gabe would use said emails to spam Penn and is being investigated for doing so.
That's not true.
Well, the complaint was submitted to OSC as a public record, and you can ask Fred about that. So that's the collaboration there. And additionally, then the collaboration connection between the two is Dan is for the PPR people, who has a ton of also fake Facebook accounts, as well as Gabe's campaign had a ton of fake Facebook accounts. And the connection between those two is also that site in which you buy a set of Facebook accounts.
So PPR has the same Facebook site app?
Yeah.
Okay. And then my question to Gabe, which is on a little bit of an unrelated topic. I'm just curious as to the number. You said you put 50 flyers in the Radiant. I'm just curious where that number, like how you got to 50 flyers.
We rationed it.
Okay.
I rationed it prior to starting. There were people who I knew in the Radiant, people who would probably vote for me if I just gave them a heads up. But that's why these numbers were done in this specific way. The 250 I reserved for people who I could talk to. But yeah, I mean that's why we got to 50, and then there were 50 also for King's Court also.
So then, how do you decide which 50 doors to put them on under the Radiant?
Yeah, so the process, I mean, Anthony helped me out with this as well. We looked for friends, we knocked on some doors, and some of it was random because we were just hoping that someone could do it. At the end of the day, when we couldn't find anyone who we knew, we were just like, all right, put it under here, just get rid of them, and use the 150, and perhaps someone will pick it up and use it. We started with friends first, knocked on doors, people didn't answer, we might have slipped under, and then we had maybe 25 left, we put them out randomly.
My question.
Also no seniors, sorry, or try for no seniors.
My question is directed to Josh. Can you just explain a bit more about this Facebook page, like O-Box or something?
Sure.
Get that forward.
So yeah, it's an odd name. Oh wait, I went too far. Of course. Maybe I went too far.
And the question that I have specifically is, did you do any research on whether or not you would actually have to have pay them anything in order for them to like your page, or could this all just be another random
Sure. Yeah. So did a bit of research into this. It's based primarily in Southeast Asia. And can I defer that to Fred? Okay, I'll let you a bit of time to Fred. That's fine.
Sure. So when I notified Gabe and Julie on March 17th or March 19th about the fake Facebook likes, I also went through the fake Facebook likes. So I sent them an attachment with an 80-page attachment of all of the likes at that point. If you click on several of those profiles, many of them are also posting classified ads and a link to the Posbooks, which is the ad agency's page.
Yeah, and so that obviously is the connection being you do that need to. On there, you go through actually you can access this page to their Twitter. It's the site for where you buy Facebook ads and you do simplifying.
And a follow-up question for Fred. What was what course of action did you take regarding this or against the 50 Yeah.
I can't hear you.
What was your course of action regarding the whole email situation from Daniel?
Okay, so this is a matter of open record. It's also in your packets. The matter was referred to the Office of Information Security as a potential breach of university policy. The InfoSec office then replied to me, CCing Michelle from OSC, after which it was referred to the Office of Student Affairs, which told Gabe and Julie to stop sending it.
Yes, you did. And I could pull up the email, but I told Katie from OSA we got our emails directly from student groups, from friends who had given us those particular emails, and then also from our own pulled emails from our own records.
There's 1,000 from Dan, right? That you're on email for?
That's all right. Yeah, sorry. Right.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to extend time by 5 minutes.
Second. All in favor? All those opposed? All right, motion passes. And Nikki?
Pass.
Ruben?
So Gabe, you said you printed these flyers in the Ware printing lab or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, you marked it down for 5 cents, that's how much you purchased to print with those printers. Did you put your own paper in, or is that paper the paper that was from the printer?
I put my own paper in. So it's for, based on how you guys do the fair market value of it, it's 5 cents. That's what I was going off of.
So that 5
mainly
cents is for the paper and the printing cost?
It actually costs less if you buy your own paper off of Amazon and then print it. I mean, obviously, because the Ware College Hospitality one makes money off of you when you do that. But yeah, I put my own paper in. Spencer?
So yeah, my question is also about the paper used here. Is this paper the same paper that I have for my packet of evidence? And if not, how much is this paper?
I don't know what kind of paper you have for your
It's standard 8x11, printer paper.
Yeah,
Does this feel the same to you as that type of paper? Can I get? Is there a difference in the paper that you use if you buy a special paper from Amazon?
The way that the printer makes the paper, I mean, in terms of the paper that we actually use, it's not. I mean, I bought it from Amazon. Honestly, it said standard, so yeah, that's similar answers.
So the cost of the paper with the ink printed on it in total for each flyer was 5 cents.
That's basically that. I was going off of what you guys had for fair market value. But yeah. Really?
I have a question for Fred. If a surrogate that a candidate does not know about is using items of monetary value and the candidate does what's in his or her power to remove the information, does he still have to put that monetary value on the monetary spending form?
So the way that we've approached this in the past is that if they undo it, the NEC likely would not file charges against them, but it doesn't give them immunity from someone else filing charges against them. This matter has not been tested.
Dan Black.
Pass.
Casey.
So I had 3 quick questions for you. The first one is, so with these flyers, you said you cut them separately, right? So you did 2 flyers per sheet of paper. And you only did these kinds of flyers for showing the doors?
There was that mistake that I said earlier.
And the color, the couple.
Yeah, the couple.
Which you said you accounted for.
That was on the colored paper, the same kind of colored paper that was put up to the poster.
Yeah, the one.
Because I guess I didn't make the right calculation, so it was like
Yeah.
35 colored, and then the rest were just paper, and then
I was just checking first.
yeah.
So looking at, I guess, some of the evidence that Josh had presented, let's just say the yes or no question. Do you accept the possibility of a surrogate, whether or not, with your knowledge, using this thing to buy these items?
I don't
Just
accept
yes or no.
that. I don't accept that because there's I had no knowledge of anyone who, I mean, I still don't know who bought these items. I really don't.
Okay.
Anyone could have bought them. Anyone could have bought them.
Just yes.
Yeah,
And then
no,
so
I-
prior to this election cycle, had you read the FPC 73, which states the rule that Josh brought up about needing to be responsible for if a surrogate
I do that, yeah.
has the knowledge, having to remove it and box.
I know. Kat?
Going back to the issue with colored posters so your claim is that there were 35, well, he says that there were 35 in total and that they were all yellow and that, this question will go to both of you.
Okay.
So just to reiterate what it is that you
Okay.
are concluding based on their,
Sure. So what I'm saying is, I think all of us pretty well saw that there were, 15 of each color, all the way down Locust when you're spanning from Huntsman up to Van Pelt, and into Pearl and Quad. There's no way that there could be 15 of each color when they were not put up at the same time and get the coverage which they did have, that you all could see as students and had just walking on Locust.
so that's your estimate. And
So we only did one side of Locust Walk. We did the left side, if you're walking towards Huntsman, we did the left side, which was approximately 8 trees. On this side, we skipped a couple. And then we did, I think, 3 trees as you were walking and making the turn. We did 2 in Pearlman, but as you got out of Houston, and then we did 1 in the very center of College Green and 1 as you were walking up from Hill, as if you were going from Hill up through College, through Wilkes Walk. Those are 15.
So that's the end of the NEC's question and answer period. There are 7 members of the NEC on the queue, but we'll now open it up to the public.
Yeah, so this is a question directed to Fred. First, could you just clarify any policies you spoke about verbally with regard to posters at the candidates meeting? If you can get your
The postering section in the candidates meeting was very long. It contained a lot of information about where you are allowed and not allowed to poster, but I'm not sure what specifically you're referring to.
More about like the paper used or anything of that nature.
Paper type was not specified.
Kate?
Okay, another point of clarification for Fred. Oh, sorry, another point of clarification for Fred. The 5-cent fair market value that we use for printing, does that just account for like ink on a page, or does it also account for paper?
So the price used to be 7 cents a page. We lowered it to 5 cents a page based on what the college houses are charging. But when you pay the college houses to print, it comes out on standard paper. So that is the total price for the paper and ink.
Okay.
Lois? Frank?
Yeah. This has been asked me already, answered, Josh, but I need more clarification. With Cosbets, you were saying that the only way that light could have been on their page is if they had paid for it?
If you'd like, I can bring it back up. This way, sorry. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, you have to input your URL, decide that you want Facebook likes. You could select like what regions they're from, the cost per click, how much spending in coins you're doing, and the coins is directly how much it has a direct monetary value in USD.
And how do we know that these screenshots are from Cosbets?
This is following through the Twitter feed for Cosbets, as well as actually is in evidence by the Vice Chair that elections, I believe it was actually when it was sent to them. So it was followed by an NEC member to this.
Okay, so you're saying Cosbets likes the page. If we look at Cosbets, it requires you to spend money. And the only way that that like could have been there is if they had actually gone through these things. And we could verify that by doing it ourselves. Okay, I will also offer the question to you for here.
Yeah, you don't have to be the, I mean, I don't have, it doesn't have to be me or Julie or anyone to buy this. I mean, honestly, look at what you're doing. You're adding the URL, adding the page title. Anyone who could have liked this or seen the page could have done it. Josh could have done it. Ernest could have done it.
So
my father could have done it.
Somebody could have. Yeah. Somebody would have had to have purchased it.
Yeah. I mean, none of this sticks. I don't see any of this. I mean, yeah. You don't. It doesn't have to be me who did it, and therefore, that's. I mean, it's we do not do this. So therefore, I don't know where the hell this is coming from. Yeah.
11.
I'll pass.
Chris?
I have another question for Fred, actually. Is the price for printing any different when you use your own paper?
No, the college house system doesn't check what kind of paper you use, so it charges the same price regardless.
Ernest?
Yeah. So now that we have now got to the point where we can now find that these are not 500 billion people, it's actually monetary value. Given that you two do not have anything to do with it, you say you don't have anything to do with these likes, correct? But you also have an admin to the Facebook page. You also have other surrogates. For the posters, could any of you, you showed your account information, your account is validated. Do you have any of your surrogates' financial documents that can prove that they did not purchase the posters themselves? Could you have the records of your other surrogates that can prove that they did not have any way of accessing or buying these? Because obviously one of your friends, Daniel, he has had this for his page as well. So it's not like these are just loose assumptions. Could it be possible that he could have bought those for your page like he bought them for the political page? Do you see the connection there, or am I speaking in French?
I think you're speaking in French.
Okay.
Because here's the essential point, right? First of all, I'm not going to ask every single person, whoever, like, even that put up a poster with me. Well, I mean, like, to release their financial records. I mean, that's over the top for one. But look, if you want to ask Dan Levinson, were you alleged to be as big a supporter as you say he is, which he was not? You can go ahead. I'm pretty sure you'll find nothing that links into Paz Books or whatever the heck, whatever that website
But
was.
you all email each other through correspondence. That's what I'm trying to get clarification for. You're saying there's no relationship there, but you all have emails.
A relationship with a person does not mean that correlation does not imply causation. That's one of the first things you learn when you come to the school. That because you know someone does not mean that they automatically work for you.
They email you about it. That's what I'm trying to clarify. No, I'm trying to ask a question. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, thank you, Frank. The question I'm asking you is that given the fact that you all have email correspondence together pertaining to this election in particular, with emails and spam, can you recognize the relationship that you have with him during this campaign that can make him possible to have bought this because he bought it for his political page?
Possibilities.
Is there a possibility? Yes or no?
Possibilities do not equate.
Is there a possibility?
Question asked, answer it, whatever you want to say.
Possibilities do not equate.
Is it a possibility?
Yes or no? Fairness, it's been answered.
Okay, great. No answer. No yes or no.
Can you go back, could you go back to the area where you showed where you distributed the flyers? Did you flyer Hill at all?
Hill?
Yeah.
I walked so this is where that 250 number comes in.
Right.
I walked to Hill, and I certainly talked to people there and handed the flyers.
Did you put any flyers under the doors?
I did not know.
Do you have any awareness of flyers ending up under doors?
In Hill?
Yeah.
Not to my knowledge, no. I did not put any flyers in Hill.
I have 2 points of inquiry for the NEC. The first one is for Fred. What actually defines a surrogate, and in this situation, is this Dan person who allegedly bought likes for David and Julie's campaign? Does he qualify as a surrogate in this situation, given that I guess David didn't know?
Okay. So I'll first answer the definition from the FPC is any individual who works on behalf of a candidate with that candidate's knowledge to aid in that candidate's selection to the undergraduate assembly and or class board. So was your second question, does Dan count?
Yeah, this was all my first
That's
question.
clearly something that the NEC will deliberate.
Okay. And my second question is for the chair. How exactly does the NEC make its decision? Is it like innocent until proven guilty, or do you just weigh like what is more possible? And yeah.
Yeah, so the FPC only outlines that it's a 2/3 vote that's required to determine whether or not an FPC violation has occurred. At which point this qualification comes out. The burden of proof not directly assessed in the document itself.
I have 2 questions. The first one is we were talking about the paper you used versus other paper, and there are different qualities of this paper according to the people who've seen it. Is it possible that the price of this paper is the same as the price of any other paper, just a different style?
Very, very possible that that's the case.
Okay.
And to be honest, I didn't check that when I was on Amazon, but I bought one of the cheaper ones so that I would reduce price. But yes, it's very, very possible that that is the case.
Sure.
Let's extend time by, sorry. Let's extend time by 5 minutes.
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
The second question was with the Facebook likes. I know we pointed out that there's this account that has liked both PPR and your page, and we've been talking about other people perhaps have done this, but at the same time, since other people could see that this account has liked this page, is it, or the PPR or whatever other page, and they know that you are affiliated or have spoken with other people, is it possible that someone maliciously used this agency to implicate you in the Facebook purchasing?
That is very, very possible, yes. I just think, I like that,
as a point of clarification, I think it's obvious to, I think
Are
everyone.
you asking a question or are you making a comment?
I am going to ask a question. Thank you. Wow. My question is, do you genuinely believe that it is only the slightest bit coincidental that there is an organization that has put Facebook likes on a person who was just brought up accused of being a surrogate, on that person who's the president of that organization, who also have the same fake Facebook likes on your page? Are you saying that it's genuinely coincidental that happened?
Julie Bitar asked me to tell Dan Levinson to not be a part of the campaign because he was rumored to be the one who apparently liked, and these rumors have been going on for a week or so, right? I called Dan and I told him, listen, you cannot be a part of this campaign. I asked him straight up, did you buy these Facebook? And he said no. That's as much as I can say to his particular honesty. I cannot speak for Dan Levinson. But I did tell him he cannot be a part of this campaign. I made that very, very, very explicit. So
that was not what my question was. Can I re-ask it? So, are you arguing that it's completely coincidental for there to be the same co-ops or whatever and the same Facebook likes? Because we have all agreed that yes, anyone can randomly like someone's page. We all get random friends like their time. So is that just coincidental that this happened? That he used this as evidence? I'm just saying, like, as an observer here, that kind of still sticks with questions I asked.
Are you asking about, is it coincidental? I mean, I don't know if it's coincidental or not. I mean, in this case, I guess it is coincidental, but I mean, you're putting words in my mouth. You're making me say coincidental, but are many things possibilities? Yes. I can't speak for other people. I can only tell you what I've done. And what I've done is not buy the Facebook likes, nor has anyone that I know bought Facebook likes. So to my knowledge, I know of no one who bought the Facebook likes.
Great. First, just everyone take a deep breath. All right. Now, my first few questions, I just have a few questions. So first, Josh, would you mind just pulling up the email you had from Dan? I'd like to see the date stamp on it, please. And then while that's happening, does anyone know the date of the Under the Button article? March 19th. March 19th.
Date stamp on it, actually. And the whole thing was in March 6th, right? March 6th. March 6th.
Okay, great. And then my other question is, I guess this is open to either Josh, Brad, or Gabe, is I know on Facebook, for example, if you go to an event page, it'll say like this person was invited by Matt Rowling to go to this birthday party, right? Do we know if there's a similar functionality to say who invited a page to come like a page or invited a person to come like a page? And if so, would we be able to look and see who invited, if anyone invited the post?
There is not such a functionality for pages.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Can you revert to the pause box like page that you pulled up, Josh? The second one.
This
Sorry, that one.
This one?
Yeah. All right. In the top left, it says earn coins at the end. Does that have to be monetary? From the way it says earn, I think the language is very ambiguous as to, this is the website. Yeah, as to how coins are acquired. And right here, I have a message that says you can get free likes by potentially earning coins rather than necessarily purchasing them. Are you aware that that's within the realm of possibility?
Again, yes, I'm sure it's in the realm of possibility, but there's a reason that there are fair market values assigned to things, in the fact that there are ways very clearly on the same exact site that you do have to directly spend them, would put it into actual campaign spending, at least if that's what the FPC decides, because they do assign a fair market price to make sure it's equitable across, that you can't get some things for free and some things for nothing.
So that's the end of.
Motion. Half of the game's gonna be two, rather.
Is there a second? All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, Spencer?
I have a question about Pausebox also. This is Josh. Is it possible that Pausebox likes a page in order to advertise their service instead of actually being the afterward effect of only after it's been purchased or earned or whatever? Are you aware, or is it possible that Pausebox does this to promote their service in hopes of the page administrator using it?
Yeah, sure, that's definitely a relevant possibility. But what kind of precludes that of being the final answer to that is the fact that, and again, it's a thread, that pages that do like the team related to our page are also fans of Possibook and that connection beyond just around the regular scope of them trying to market themselves as, a company.
Right. I have a question. How did you get those emails on Gabe's personal email account?
Those were submitted on public. They were submitted to the NEC. I requested, as anyone can, for any public information about them. Any additional people that were on there were redacted, as well as actually information, including the actual thousands of Penn students' names that were taken from Penn directly. Those were also redacted by the NEC to protect individuals. And that is something that is freely accessible by the NEC because it was turned in by someone who was on that link
And
to it.
kind of a follow-up to this. With this whole pause box thing, it seems very, would you not agree that it seems very similar to the messages they receive in their inboxes from other free website accounts that anyone honestly could have gone and typed a URL in? And would you also agree that you don't need an administrator name and password as you showed us on their pay site? Would you agree to both those?
I would definitely agree that, lots of different pages will start doing this. I can say from personal experience, it's interesting that we never had any pages do this on ours. There's a pretty good correlation with when you type in and put out your information to the internet, what comes back to you. I think that it is pretty solid to like saying, like, if you put in money into a free like site, they're going to spam you with more free like sites. As far as like the information that they directly put into it, I cannot fully speak to it. I haven't tried to
next
do
slide.
this. Oh yeah, I know what it looks like. I can bring it back up.
Yeah. Would you agree that you don't need a username or password based on this form right here?
Sure. Yes, I would. I would also agree, though, that this form does link it to money.
So do you have any actual evidence of Julie or Gabe or any of their surrogates actually purchasing likes? Do you have any actual evidence, not just correlation or speculation?
Sure.
Any evidence of them actually purchasing like a PayPal account or a credit card history? Do you have any of that?
Seeing as, unfortunately, the NEC doesn't have subpoena power of individuals' monetary spending, we can't access their surrogates, proven surrogates, financial situations and what they have spent and have not spent. However, what I can say is when someone does, according to FPC rules, if you do, if a surrogate does violate the FPC and you didn't know about it and didn't want them to, you as the individual candidate, and both candidates should know this, have the responsibility to remove the action done by the surrogate.
Do you have any
regardless.
actual
What's
evidence?
that?
You don't actually have evidence of anyone purchasing any type of likes. You don't have evidence.
They're very good at covering the tracks. We have the closest, we have direct linking of the two.
So you don't have any evidence.
Everything's been answered.
All right, I have two questions for Gabe. The first is related to the flyer. So if, as Fred attests, you don't save any money by supplying your own paper, why did you choose to do that?
You don't save money?
So,
Yeah, absolutely not.
Well, I got the cheaper paper, so on Amazon, so I could use that instead of the paper that was used in Quad. So that it was, I would have more in terms of bulk.
Okay. And then can we go to the slide that just has the FPC campaign procedures regarding surrogates section 2? Yeah. So, other question, so if someone was acting on your behalf without your knowledge and getting you these Facebook likes, curious what you did, if anything, within your power to undo their actions as the FPC requires.
Okay, so first of all, I asked the only person that, Julie received a text from a friend of hers who told her that, she thought it was this person, Dan Levinson. And she told me, did this person do this? I don't know. And I called Dan, I told him, did you do this? He said, no. After that, I said, listen, you cannot be a part of this campaign. No matter what you're doing, and he wasn't really working with us actively. This email that was shown, we didn't use that stuff. Honestly, we didn't. Whatever emails we had because we got them our own selves. There's no proof showing that we actually used any of this. or his particular email, or his particular web collection of emails. And then I told him that he could not be a part of it. And then we did not remove the likes because we honestly thought that we had been smeared in some way. And as a result of that, we said, well, what's stopping someone from doing it again tomorrow? That's why we didn't do it. But I did remove like 50 or 60 likes. Were like obviously no Facebook picture, barely a name, because I thought that they were probably the most likely to be fake. But I couldn't, at the end of the day, discriminate between who was fake and who wasn't. I had no idea what was going on. You guys had text messages on a timestamp that said, honestly, delineate, I had no freaking clue what was going on. Neither did you. I'll take you. So you don't have a problem.
Did you? Okay, sorry. So quickly to clarify on that, Fred, was there a seeming very strong correlation between the exact emails that were used and then reported by rather OSC and complained to the ones that were sent in the email by Dan Levinson? So in other words, is there evidence actually saying that they did use those emails, and did it come from possibly including Gabe's personal emails?
So there is. Okay. I did not compare the email addresses of anyone to the list because the list in the Excel spreadsheet only goes up until the last name -AL, and all complaints I received were from people after -AL, so I did not compare the list. But there is evidence that the emails came from Gabe's personal SAS and Gmail accounts because of the cryptographic domain keys identified email.
So then, may I have a follow-up then to Gabe? So you're denying having him as a surrogate in any way and no action with Dan?
No, I'm saying that he emailed me with and I can produce this, an electronic volunteer sheet, which would help me organize potential volunteers. And that was, I think, roughly the end of, like, the very beginning of when we got back from spring break. And then I heard about this whole life thing, and I'm not going to go back to the story, but we talked to Julie, and I told Dan, and yeah.
And then final follow-up, beyond just individual surrogacy, did you actually do anything to document what was seen as your removal or doing about this allegedly unwarranted people using your Facebook and getting likes on Facebook, which you are required to document? Yes.
What do you mean by document?
I mean, you could go in, for instance, and take a screenshot of you. You can actually, as the admin, if you follow that first link on Google, you can find out that you can go in and block them, ban them from their page. Did you have any documentation showing that you did this, or is this just a move?
It's something that I did because that's simply what my reaction to that particular position was. Do I have evidence of me blocking people? No, I didn't think I would. I didn't think you'd be charging me right now. But that was out.
Okay, I have two questions on different topics with you. The first one is, what was your working knowledge of surrogacy prior to these charges being brought?
The only surrogates that
I'm not asking who your surrogates are to clarify. I'm asking, what is your knowledge of what a surrogate was and their functionality, given that you claim that you initially had no surrogates, and I know that I recognize that now you do recognize.
Yeah, I mean, now I can substitute surrogate for volunteer.
Okay, so my question is, what was your knowledge? Like, what was your understanding of a volunteer at that point in time?
So my understanding of a volunteer was someone that literally helped you flyer, helped you walk around, convince people, things like that. A surrogate, I thought, was like the person that organized your website, or that you worked literally through. You told, like, hey, do this and organize this whole page. Go out and publicize it. I mean, that's more like a campaign manager.
Okay, so as a follow-up, when you were working with what you deemed as a volunteer at the time, were you always with them when they were working on your behalf? Because, like, you're saying flyering and...
Yeah, so for example, Anthony flyered Road, and I took part of it, and then we did Harrison together.
Okay.
So I was not always with him
okay.
at every single turn, no.
Okay, and then on a different kind of topic area, going back to the reference about the firing of the Radian, you said that you put 50 fires. Well, I know that you said that you tried to target people that you knew who lived there. What?
Just to answer your question, you asked why.
No, I'm not asking why. I'm asking you what was your methodology for firing the Radian and.
Room numbers.
room numbers. So my question is, in terms of people who you didn't know room numbers, like there's obviously apartments that you're not going to know every single person in the Radian, I'm assuming. Like, what was your methodology in terms of how you decided? Because I would assume that the Radian's not going to tell you where seniors and non-seniors live.
So I had friends of mine tell me where their friends live, and I had my own friends who I knew lived in certain rooms. I texted them, hey, what room are you in? Things like that, and then I flyered them to those stores specifically. Targeted.
Okay, so were there, yes or no, were there rooms that were not part of the targeted campaign who would have received your flyer?
I don't believe so, because I would know that, I did the flyering. Yeah, no, unless it was a mistake on my part, I flyered only under doors intentionally that I knew either a friend told me someone lived there who they knew would be likely to vote, or they could tell to vote, or I knew that they would vote for me. So.
Right. Alright, so Gabe, we'll go back to something that Justin asked about a little bit earlier, but I think he gave kind of a vague answer. So, did you, I guess, prior to the beginning of the campaign, have the knowledge that any paper that's printed using like the College House printing system costs the same amount regardless of whether you insert your own paper or not?
I thought it would be cheaper using my own paper.
You were under the impression that if you inserted your own paper into the printer, then that would cost less taking off your Pendash account than if you used the paper that was already in.
Yeah, it would be kind of like an economy of scale. So you'd get like a bulk of paper that was far cheaper than where it was costing, and then I would use that. And if it's like 3 cents a page instead of 7, I would save money. But I only realized that shortly before getting all the flyers out, when I realized it's 5 cents, regardless of whatever I do. In which case, I was like, all right, I'm limited here, so I'm going to take it for what you did.
So you only realized after the end.
Right before I actually did the flyering stuff, I had to make sure, all right, I'm going to make sure this is set, I can use this paper. And then I was like, okay, if there's nothing I can do to make this change, it's 5 cents.
So only after the fact you realized that you spent money that you didn't need to be spending out of pocket to buy paper because you could have just used the paper that was already in the printers for no extra cost.
Pretty much.
As a follow-up to that, so when you paid for the separate paper, did you account for that on the spending form?
I accounted for the NEC document as the paper. I mean, so I bought my own colored paper, for example. Like, where doesn't have colored paper? I bought my own colored paper, and I know that the NEC went by 12 cents. So I was like, all right, I had to use that number. And then when I bought the other paper, I was like, there's something I can do, like, do 5 cents. So it was really, I hadn't accounted for it because you guys only have your set number that you can go by. But I didn't think I had to account for it. The other thing was, when I submitted the spending form, I submitted it online, it didn't transfer over. And so I was at like a social event, and I had to run over, and we had to like write the spending form like in 5 minutes. So it was really
As a matter of fact, we did not receive an electronic spending form.
Yeah, I like I said to you at that meeting, I thought I submitted it. I had witnesses there who saw me doing it. The only thing I didn't realize, you have to put like actual receipts for it to even transfer over, and that's why I thought it was submitted, but it didn't actually submit.
May I also clarify? An email to all of the candidates, as well as the public post on our website, states explicitly that you may use that form only if your only expenses are for printing at fair market value prices, or if you have receipts attached for every single other purchase.
So, follow-up question. When specifically things that we list for fair market value are added to a candidate's spending form, even if you spend beyond that, it's still listed at fair market value?
I'm sorry?
So if you spend more than fair market value, but we list something as fair market value, which do you write down? The higher price or the
So for example, if you were to buy a domain name at $15, but the fair market value is $12, we will permit you to use the $12. But that depends on whether the items are comparably similar or identical.
Sure, all right. This question is directed to Gabe, and it's a little long, so please bear with me. First, when did, we have the picture, it doesn't include a timestamp. When did Daniel Levison send you the email with the Excel spreadsheet? March 6th. When did Julie Guitar ask you to ask Daniel Levison to no longer be involved in the campaign?
I don't know if you submitted those, I read it on the 20th of March, the day after the whole Facebook campaign.
When did you ask Dan Levinson to not be a part of the campaign?
Because Julie asked me to not be a part of the campaign.
What day?
It was on the 20th.
The same day.
But that, I mean, again, if you go back, like, I asked him to basically that he could not be at all help me, write any more electronic emails. He could not create new volunteer sheets, couldn't do anything for me. That's what I communicated to him because he was rumored to be involved in this Facebook-like thing. And even though he told me he didn't.
And then next, so you said that you didn't use the emails that were sent to you, the list of emails from Dan Levinson. So at what day did you or Julie personally scrape through the pen directory and come up with your list of emails?
Julie didn't do that. I mean, is that relative to the general? I mean, I think the charges are separate from, or the complaint was separate from that.
Okay, so.
But I mean, that was done over a week. That particular week before we set the emails. But that's not really relative to it.
Thank you. I just wanted clarification on that.
Sure.
Slightly different note. If you look at the complaints issued by Josh, the handwriting between them is wildly different. You signed these were your complaints, Josh. Did someone else write one of your complaints?
Yeah, I wrote the main one and I had people help transcribe them. I did the actual filing out of the complaint, what was being complained, I was the signed it, taking that writing as my own. Yeah, but.
And that's the end of the.
Okay, at this point, Josh, you can present any evidence that you're against Julie. Julie, they got Okay, everybody take your seat again, we're gonna get started. And just a general reminder to everybody in the room, there should be a maintained sensitive forum throughout. Please respect that. Do not respond to things that are not going to address to no sound or facts.
All right, so I'm back up. Again, these are charges on overspending on your campaign. They were filed independently. For reasons of my own, I do think that it's worth actually debating if there's one more involved than the other in these charges. However, both do sign their individual spending forms, claiming that to be their own, so it is worth splitting it up. So again, it is about flyers, not listing all items, false surrogates, and then not reporting and following the FPC. So again, the flyers, this is including, just for us, including Julie was involved in the sense that she was notified of this. This was the email from Gabe, but there is, why is this, is this the same one? Is this a separate, I submitted a separate PowerPoint on the Julie one? Because there is the Julie's email should be there.
I'm not aware.
Okay, so I'll go forward anyway. Anyway, so we do have, again, the difference in the two that are put underneath it as they are running as a ticket. I suppose it doesn't matter, as they were CC'd on each other's emails at all times. Even though we do have evidence on the other, the names are on both. That still holds kind of thing. All right, so again, 35 color posters. When in this was something brought up, oh, we only did one side of locus. It was inherently incorrect, especially seeing as on that big tree by the left side, you had one. If you go outside of Huntston, there one's on the far side of it, kind of on the Huntston program side. So you did have spending in flyers on the left side, not just the right side. I find it to be a very interesting and kind of, debatable distinction and kind of attempt to defend yourself to do that. So again, more on the flyers. Just different types. First, there were these yellow ones that were promptly removed when it rained, and I think on the second part I did have Wednesday. So for what it's worth. And then there's some of the Delaney Batar ones, again, with vice president's candidate's name. Again, can it actually be 35? A bit debatable. So once again, we go to Postbucks. Spending and how it is something connected to spending. Can be and should be assigned its own fair market value as decided by the NEC. Surrogacy, so this is the statement both signed by both of them. Again, in connection to Gabe and the usage now. Okay, so yeah, so there definitely was a different PowerPoint. Because included in the packet that should go to NEC, it should be the one, the third one that I sent you. There would be another picture here, which was the email sent out at, I believe, let me bring up the date.
We can download that PowerPoint.
What's that, sorry?
We can put that PowerPoint up if you want.
It's, I mean, if you have it, it's not super, but if you want to.
This is a good time to take a breath.
Yes. How excited I am. It's
Okay, so I am back. Yeah, so again, Facebook likes is for their full team thing. As much as one can say, you didn't have individual knowledge of this, you still benefit from the action taken by others and have not done so to remove that from your surrogate. Onto whether or not this whole thing was surrogacy. We look, there's actually one from Julie saying that she was not particularly positive of what the surrogacy meant and what that was. Again, something that it is important to note. It's more about whether or not you authorize it. It's that if you do believe there's someone acting on your behalf, that you do something about it. So as much as it may be affirming this, we still have the connection with all these emails, and then the usage on of emails all over the place by both of the candidates. It was again a team ticket, so regardless of whether or not you claim to be involved with the surrogate one, it does apply over to you as well, and you should be taking a stronger stance to it. And yeah, again, political review connection there. And the fact that they were still, on March 23rd, Dan Levinson was still acting on their campaign. I know there's a question on timeline before as to when Dan was involved. You can see that Dan was actually still involved on March 23rd after the action. I mean, it may be as much as the Facebook share, but as far as the polling and the pushing of the PPR endorsement, things like that, you could draw a very strong connection. But the campaign is still involved with this man, and as much as they may claim otherwise. So again, it's not necessarily about whether or not you use surrogates. I mean, that's up to debate, because I mean, shame is it's a kind of a vague definition that you can basically say, oh, I didn't know, and then you get off free. They're little super packages, just be careful. Did you alert them? Yes, that's good. But again, the actual question is, did you do what is in his or her power to remove the action and document doing so, which is fundamentally part of this line. And if you read the FPC, I mean, it is something required of a candidate as soon as you have knowledge of these different things. As was stated, Julie did have knowledge of the individual additions to Facebook and did have the ability to take them off. Again, spending arguments are just a very, very close amount left for spending, and that's not, finding enough for flyer costs, for all posters, for the surrogates actions. And by not actually, taking action to remove the surrogates actions, basically accepting them onto yourself. And that was unreported, so again, yeah, the removal of Facebook likes is, and I'll actually go through it this time, an exceptionally easy thing to do. So yeah, let's go through a little bit of the theatric part of it. This is clearly something within a candidate's ability to do and something that you can do. And I mean, it's the very first link you follow, and it tells you exactly how to through that same admin panel that they showed you before. You can very, very easily get rid of someone, and you can also remove or ban someone from a page so they can't come back and like it, kind of negating the argument they have that, oh, they'll just come back again, which is apparently false. So yeah. So I think you actually have to go, there's like one. I don't know where your sauce am. Okay, so this is it? No, this is second. There you are. Okay.
Thank you. So basically, this is exactly what Gabe presented. I don't know. F5.
Shift F5.
Okay.
Escape.
This.
Slide to the top.
I just go here.
That's fine.
Okay. Our campaign produced 450 sheets of flyer paper, which when cut amounts to 900 flyers, and 35 sheets of colored paper. 150 flyers in Roden, Harnwell, and Harrison, 120 flyers in the Quad, approximately 50 flyers each in the Radian and Kings Court, approximately 30 flyers in Gregory, 250 were personally distributed by Gabe. And cash expenses by Gabe. Here you go. Josh alleges that we printed 1,800 flyers, which cost $90. In all of his expenses equals $54, which is much less than that, so that point is moot. Also, this is his personal account. What he spent at Frontera for his sandwich, what he spent at, what he spent printing out his readings for his classes. We also did account for everything in our spending form. This is mine. I haven't printed anything since I had to print my candidate packet thing. Whatever. There's that. Conclusion, the claim that excess flyers were printed is baseless and unsupported by any of our financial records.
Okay, we'll now move into the question and answer period for the NEC. I would ask that, outside of this information that's been presented before, try to ask any questions that are pertinent or questions that you feel also
So a big point of the deliberation so far have been, I guess, the connection to Dan Levinson. So my question is directed to Fred. Have you seen, or what has been, as the VCE, what was your experience with Julie and Gabe with regards to Dan Levinson as a surrogate?
I am an RA in Ware, and there is a room in where I often study, and Gabe does too. On a certain night on the week of the 17th, Dan Levinson and Anthony Cruz came in and then spent some time speaking to Gabe in the other room across the hall. At no point was Julie present.
Fred?
Julie, do you think that any of the Facebook purchases, any of the Facebook likes were purchased?
I don't know. I don't know who did it. I don't know why they did it. I don't even know Dan Levinson. It's the truth.
Yeah, Julie, can you just corroborate or explain your side of the Dan Levinson story? I know Gabe presented that, is information behind it.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, well, here's just the narrative of exactly what happened. I went to bed at like 3 a.m., looked at the page, like 200 likes, friends and family. I woke up 9 a.m. for class. There were like 500 pages. I was freaked out. Like, I didn't have the initial, oh my god, this is really cool. I had the, what is going on? Because, like, notifications would come in that were, people were liking it, and I was like, I wonder who these people are. So I click it, and I was like, oh, I don't know them. Okay, I thought it was weird. So I texted Gabe, I'm like, are you seeing this thing, these Facebook, like, what's going on? He's like, he didn't even, like, know what was happening. And then later the day, he's like, I'll check it out. Then later the day, I'm like, seriously, these don't look like real people. I don't understand. Is this like spam? Did you click on something? Like, what is this? Like, and he's like, I literally have no idea. Then later, Ernest Owens does his thing, Under the Button does their thing, and I'm like, Gabe, seriously, what are these things? And he's like, literally, Julie, I have no idea. All these text messages are sent to Frank, or to Fred. I don't know where they came from. So then, at that point, I was literally thinking about just like dropping out of the race because it felt dirty and I didn't understand what was happening and it's not what I signed up for. But my friends were just like, honestly, who cares? It's not votes. Like, these are literally likes from, these are spam. And you didn't do it. Gabe didn't do it. You don't know who did it. There was no idea. So I posted this like funny thing, like from Mean Girls, being like, how come I'm so popular? People I don't know. Like, okay. And then, well, no. Then, so it kind of like died down after that. Ernest Owens deleted all his comments on the post he originally put on our page. Then, oh, by the way, I'm Julie. We've never met. Then that night I was just studying advanced because I had exam the next morning, and I get a phone call from a friend, Varun. He was like, people think it's this guy, Dan Levinson. I was like, who? And he's like, this guy. He's doing this stuff, and you don't know it. And I was like, I don't even know who he is. And so then, anyways, he's like, look into it because someone said something with it's your exact argument, whatever. So, yeah, so I basically screamed at Gabe, once again, telling him, you need to tell him this exact message. I said, no one speaks on my behalf, especially a stranger with a grudge and malicious intentions. He is not a part of this campaign. He has never been and will never be. I will not meet him. I do not know him. That's it. That was the extent of it. Gabe got the message loud and clear. I said he's out 100% if he was ever, and he said he was, whatever. So he conveyed this message to them, and even though Dan denied everything, he was like, fine, like whatever. Gabe said, no more involvement with anything. The fact that he shared something on Facebook on his own accord was after all of this took place, and that is no proof at all. I can't tell someone, you're not allowed to like my page. I mean, isn't that what you're telling me for?
Yeah.
Or son, they're not allowed to? Okay. So that's the whole narrative. That's exactly what happened. That's the extent of the interaction. That's my story.
I was just on, I just asked.
Okay, I have a few questions for Julie. The first one is a simple yes or no. You earlier just said, quote, you don't know who did it or why it was done. So is this your admission that it was Facebook likes were purchased?
No. I just don't know where the likes were coming from.
Okay. But, okay. My other question for you is, Gabe explicitly said he removed 50 likes, or about give or take 50 likes. Did you remove any likes?
Yeah, I blocked people because I actually didn't know how to remove likes. I Google searched how to remove likes on Facebook, and it was telling me how to remove likes on my own Facebook page, like my personal account, not on a Pages account. And so then I went through, like, try to find the people who liked it, and on my page, when you're on the Team Gabe Delaney and Julie Vitar on the team page, you can't look up people who like and it will show you people who like pages or people who like team blaming. It wouldn't show you there. I had to go on my personal account and look up exactly what you guys looked up on people who liked it. So yeah, then I saw everyone who liked it, and so then I could block them in Julie Bitar, not as Gabe Blaine Julie Bitar. But then I went on the Julie, whatever happened, I somehow got to my thing and I was blocking people, but I didn't block all of them at all.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, just briefly, Josh, can you just walk me through the numbers with regards, I mean, the Facebook thing, and going back to the flyers that you talked about. Can you just walk me through, because they presented that they 150 in the road, and they gave you your number, their numbers that they believe to be what they spent on posters. And so just explain to me where you're getting the 1,080. 204, this is a suck, you're assuming that they have been flying every single?
Yeah, I was assuming a mass one, and then I actually discounted a good chunk from what was presented actually in the housing packet that we give to new students of how many rooms are in each of their college houses. And that was accounting for wherever there were people reporting these flyers. I would actually kind of draw into question the whole idea of this targeted campaigning, as I'm sure that some members of the NEC even may have received them under their door of the radio.
So just to follow up, that there's nowhere that they've said that they've flyed every single room. So you're just saying that you can you explain that part of the argument? So they say that they've only been doing 150, and so where are you getting the?
Sure. So if you look actually on the ones that are passed out, for instance, the difference between multiple different ones that are reported to spread, people saying that they have these flyers to their doors, you'll find a very interesting difference of floors, and then it was seemingly a more mass targeted one than a masked one instead of a targeted one. So the numbers are assuming for mass, and they're just assuming for targeted, and that's where the conflict applies.
Sorry, unless Julie, do you want to respond in terms of that?
Can you speak louder?
Sorry, Julie, do you want to respond in terms of that, kind of explain the targeting aspect of the campaign, or were you not involved?
I didn't fly or anything. I didn't email from the Gabe Delaney and Julie Bitar thing. Only emails I sent were from my personal account to my friends being like, hey, can you put this on your listservs? It was up to them if they want to do it.
So you put the flyer stuff?
I didn't fly or anything. I didn't know anything.
So that's the end of the NEC communicator. There are 3 NEC members left in the queue. Alright, Levin?
So Julie, you mentioned that you got notifications when all these supposedly fake or whatever accounts liked your page. Is it possible to look at those notifications and see at what point in the timeline POSBooks liked your page?
I don't know. I think on Facebook it kind of shows like this person and 100 others like your page. I don't know how you break it down.
But in POSBooks, earlier there was some discussion whether POSBooks liked your page, which is we know POSBooks is a paid subscription. So there's discussion whether they liked your page after all these accounts or before. So maybe you could log onto the account, you look at the notification panel to see, the group.
Which index? Through my Facebook?
Only the page is admissible as evidence. You don't necessarily have to log on to your own personal Facebook. Because that was not safe.
Are the pages notifications if you like it?
I know, but you have to be, like, I have to show you as an admin. Like, that's really weird.
I have a question about that. If Julie already submitted her admin panel screenshot, does that allow her to then show that?
You can go on the admin page. I'm saying you don't have to go onto the, if I'm trying to log in, then you have to go to the admin page. You can do that if you're choosing to answer the question, though you don't have to give us anything from your personal Facebook. You understand what I'm saying?
So I can go on Facebook but you can't, okay.
And go
I can like Google it, I can Google it.
You see notifications.
Only information that comes from the admin page is admissible to us. Any information that comes from notifications to Julie Bitar, we can't use.
Oh, okay. So I mean, the only thing I got as Julie Bitar, like Julie Bitar signed on at 9:30 in the morning and saw all these likes. Julie Bitar got this person likes your page. Oh, you mean on the admin page it'll show you the
Yes.
Oh.
Julie, if you feel comfortable going to the admin page, go to the admin page. We just want to see the.
Can I just like close this?
Yeah, he's just
There's a mute button on the top left of the.
Minimize first.
She doesn't just.
And then.
We're the live streaming it live.
Just don't.
So this is my Facebook page.
Again, no unsolicited sounds at all in any way, shape, or form.
All right, so can you click on the notifications? Right
Yeah.
to those.
Here?
Under.
No,
On the left side.
Here? See all?
Yes.
Maybe just like Control F pop books.
How do you spell?
POS.
How do you spell that?
POS.
I think it's the problem is the and what's called the control app.
I don't know what to do.
Oh, it's hidden in the.
You scroll down, it's in the post.
Oh, well, don't we know the night that it happened? We know it happened. What day did you wake up with all of this on Wednesday?
Yeah, I think Wednesday.
So it was Wednesday, right?
Wednesday the 19th.
Whose question is this? Is this Justin's?
Yeah.
Justin's.
Oh, here?
Doesn't give you a- You click on 165 others. That doesn't give you an order. Okay, that's the end of the question.
I don't know. Do you want anything else on the Facebook page while we're here?
Thank you.
You can see anything you want. This is, the page reaches nothing. The admins, like, I don't know what you want.
Okay, yeah, this is just a clarification question. Did you have any posters or flyers that were separate that just had your name that didn't?
Yeah. Yeah, can I log out?
Yes.
Good.
Can you go back to, this is for Julie, can you go back to the page or the slide where you showed the poster distributions? If you add them up, then they equate to 950, the extra 50, does that fall into like the approximate?
Can Gabe answer this question? I didn't do anything.
Sorry?
Oh, so the question is if you add the numbers up, like 150 times 3 plus 120 plus 100 plus 30 plus 250, it actually equates to 950. So
Yeah, so that's my only ability to do that. I know, so it was set 150 for each high rise. We only got to 120 plus those 12 for the quad. All those numbers on the top are set. The remainder is my inability to subtract. But yeah, there were 900 flyers. So whatever I had in my hand.
Ernest?
Yes. Hi. I want to ask you this question. Is it safe to say at this point, given the fact that you are on a ticket with Gabe Delaney and that you have no knowledge about what his actions are prior with email, is it safe to say that you're a Manchurian candidate for this race?
What?
A Manchurian candidate.
I don't know what that
A
means.
candidate, you've heard, okay, it's a question, I'm just asking, like, were you not, on this ticket, are you not aware of a lot of the decisions that was made during this race? Even though you guys were on a ticket, is it safe to say that you weren't aware of Gabe Delaney's actions? Were you not consulted on any of the relationships? Including the email that was made with Dan Levison, was you not aware of that prior before you told him to take Dan Levison out of the race? I mean, out of the campaign? Were you not aware of any of this? Even though you were both on a ticket?
We're on the ticket, yes,
Yes,
but you
we-
don't vote for us together, you know that, right?
But it's Team
That
Gay.
conversation, you can ask the question exactly.
If I'm a Manchurian
No,
candidate,
if you were not aware, that is a Manchurian candidate, it's the same thing. But were you not aware of the actions that Gay was making on your behalf?
I knew
As
he was
you're part
gonna
of the
flyer,
candidate.
I knew he was gonna flyer, I knew where he was gonna flyer. I knew he had this email thing, but the email he said was made from a compilation of every email that someone wrote on his paper when he was up trying to become like an official candidate. That's what the email compilation is.
Okay, so you were a quality.
That's what I'm aware of. That's what I'm aware
Sorry, can I clarify a point? Where are you getting the 950? I'm getting 950.
You can. Are you on the queue to ask a question?
No, I'm just wondering why. Okay, I'll go on the queue, I guess.
I just have a question for the NEC. Josh, so as I said before, the handwriting between the complaints varies greatly. And Josh just said that others may have done it for him. So does this constitute forgery, and is this acceptable as a complaint?
I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what constitutes forgery.
By NEC standards.
The NEC does not determine whether or not a document is forged. It's not interested in doing such.
The FPC does not specify that it has to be in the handwriting of the person who submitted it.
Fair.
My first question is for Josh. Why did you try these two separately?
Sure. So I wanted it to be something that, I mean, the NEC could parse out if there was any connection between each individual. I want it to be as like minimal impact because of is possible, theoretically anyway. Like if it was something that the NEC finds that Gabe would violate and Julie did not, that I think would be a more desirable outcome. I don't think anyone wants him disqualified from the ballot, but I think there are still procedures and rules that they should follow. And so just to minimize that as much as possible. But then the second, the other filing was about something that they both did in action. They both took in a room. There was a written statement by people in that room affirming it. So it's pretty impossible to split it apart. But it was something done kind of actually as a courtesy. But you want me to yield?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. It's the other issue is that there are two separate spending forms that are in question. They don't file it.
Okay. And my second question is for both Julie and Josh. Do you think that this like upward Facebook likes like by 5 p.m. on Friday was beneficial or detrimental to the Gabe Julie campaign?
oh my god, detrimental. Are you kidding me?
And then do you answer? I'm not really one to make a judgment for it. I mean, then you could ask our flyers detrimental or positive, like do they annoy people when you go to knock on doors or does it help? I think it's still an action made by the campaigner, and it doesn't matter whether it's detrimental or not. Or not necessarily made by the campaigner, rather made by someone else, and that they did not actually take it down as a campaign like they're mandated to do so.
So unless there's a motion, that is the end of time.
Motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
Second.
How many people are on this?
3.
3 people left on the queue.
All right, so all those in favor? All those opposed? All right, so
Great. So thank you all for coming. I would ask that just take one more second. Again, when you leave this room, your peers will whether treat each other respectfully and kindly. Thank you for coming. I now ask you to exit the room so that our deliberations can begin. Fred will send you an email to invite you back once we finalize our decisions.